Celestial Immortal Clan. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 426, Wan Lei washes his body. She could only patiently introduce the VIP card system of Wanbao Pavilion to him, and then gave him a second-level VIP card, asking Lin Changqing to refine it with blood. After Lin Changqing finished refining and put away the 4 spiritual tools he bought, she continued, "There are some materials with thunder attributes. Do you want to take a look? As long as you spend 10,000 spiritual stones, you can be promoted to 3rd-level VIP card. Then you will have the authority to buy this kind of hidden spirit mask." Hearing this, Lin Changqing's heart moved, and he picked up the gifted hidden spirit mask and carefully examined it. He found that it was indeed higher than the one he was wearing on his face. It was also a little more advanced, and it was also very clean, without any marks, let alone the things he was worried about. So he put the newly acquired hidden spirit mask directly on his face, and used the water mirror technique to take a look. It looked like a handsome young monk. At this time, he said, "Thank you for your reminder, Wang Dao. But forget about the thunder attribute materials. The expenses for buying spiritual tools today have greatly exceeded my original budget. I don't have many spiritual stones now, so I still have to keep some to maintain my daily practice. As for the thunder attribute materials, I'll talk about it when I have spiritual stones in the future." She didn't believe what Lin Changqing said at all. Just now at the shopkeeper's place, she already knew his record. She knew that such a powerful thunder attribute cultivator would definitely not be short of spiritual stones. He didn't buy thunder attribute materials because he didn't have spiritual stones. But Lin Changqing didn't care what she thought. After telling her that she didn't need to send him, he left Wanbao Pavilion in a low profile. Walking on the street with a new face, he felt that basically no one paid attention to him, which made him feel a lot more relaxed. But now it was almost dark, and he thought about it and decided to follow the original plan. Find another hotel to stay for one night. So he searched for a long time before finding a new hotel. He opened a new room with the access certificate. As usual, he used his spiritual sense to carefully check the room twice and confirmed that there was no problem. He activated a restriction on the door and the magic circle he arranged. Only then did he relax a little. After thinking for a while, he knew that Chen Ziyao would be worried if he didn't go back at this time, so he took out a windtail conch. He input a magic power and described what he had experienced today to Chen Ziyao in the spring and autumn style. He told her that he would not go back tonight and would meet directly 10 miles outside the south gate tomorrow morning. At that time, he would appear with Zhang Dejin's face. It took a lot of time to make Chen Ziyao believe that he was fine. He did this just for the sake of caution. After doing this, he finally had some free time and made himself a pot of green jade tea. Then he reviewed what happened today from beginning to end. After not finding any major loopholes, he was completely relieved. In fact, I was still a little impulsive today, and was swayed by my emotions. The most inappropriate thing was to go on the life and death stage. At that time, it would be fine if we could just ask those people to go outside the venue to solve the problem. As long as they dare to go out, it is absolutely impossible for them to come back alive. There would not be so many troubles, let alone being so high profile and participating in a life and death fight, so it is still not enough for me to practice. After being blatantly provoked by those people twice, my heart was already full of murderous intent, so I chose a solution that was not very good. I exposed myself under the eyes of so many people, mainly because I had too little experience and did not have much experience. Therefore, no matter what happens in the future, I still have to calm down and think more. After thinking it all out, Lin Changqing felt a little more comfortable. He tried his best in this matter, and he himself had gained a little bit. He took out the 4 spiritual tools he bought in Wanbao Pavilion. Just now, time was too tight and he did not study them well. Now it is a good time to study it. The first Thunder Snake Whip is actually a more ordinary thunder attribute spiritual tool. The female monk surnamed Wang did not introduce it too much. Lin Changqing already knew that it should not be too special, and most importantly, he did not know how to whip. So this thing can only be kept and used as a common talisman in the Thunder Acupoint in the future. The second Soul Beast card, in fact, to be honest, this thing is not a Thunder attribute spiritual tool. It just seals a thunder attribute soul inside, and the material itself is not thunder attribute, so it can't be used as a talisman in the thunder acupoint. Fortunately, when he saw the thing, he thought of a suitable owner for it, that is, to give it to Chen Ziya. In this way, Chen Ziya has another barrier around her, and in the future, when fighting with others, she will first send 3 Zhengjing divine thunders to the opponent. More than 95% of the foundation building cultivators may not be able to withstand it. If they are not dead, they will be pulled into the formation that has been arranged in advance and continue to clean up. Thinking about it this way, I feel a headache for Chen Ziya's future opponents. That's right, do it this way, and give this soul beast card to Chen Ziya tomorrow. The third spiritual tool is mainly used to clear the miscellaneous fish, and the drum-type spiritual tools are too noisy to use, and I have to stay on the great-grandmother's treasure ship during this period. Therefore, this thunder drum can be sacrificed and refined after a while. Anyway, it should not be used in the short term. The last magic weapon embryo, the 5 elements thunder bottle, is what Lin Changqing needs most now. The sooner the sacrifice is completed and stored in the thunder acupoint, the earlier it can start to store and absorb thunder attribute mana. He is already looking forward to the scene of activating the 5 elements thunder bottle and sending out countless 5 elements thunders at once. Who will be lucky enough to be the first to die under the soul bottle in the future? After putting the previous 3 spiritual tools back into the storage bag, the last one, the thunder bottle, was left. After taking out the Wunian jade mat, he began to use the treasure collection technique to sacrifice the thunder bottle. Unknowingly, more than 2 hours have passed. Lin Changqing finally breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it went smoothly. If it was really a magic weapon, it might take 10 days or half a month to sacrifice. Now the 5 elements thunder bottle is already in his thunder acupoint. He has just poured the thunder mana in the 18 acupoints into the thunder bottle. I found that there was a huge space inside that could store a lot of thunder magic. If the space could be filled up, it was estimated that there would be no problem in releasing tens of thousands of 5-element divine thunders at once. With another killer move, Lin Changqing was really looking forward to it. He didn't know who would be able to enjoy the service of the 10,000 thunders body wash in the future. Chapter 427, Set Off Again. After being intoxicated for a while, he started practicing magic and thunder sutra. It was several hours later when he finished everything, and he still had the top-grade raw stones he had harvested today. However, thinking that he had just entered the inner space yesterday, Lin Changqing should be working hard to expand the inner space at this time. After thinking about it, he decided not to go in again. He would send the raw stones in his hand to Lin Changqing next time. Anyway, it would only be postponed for a while, and he decided not to look at the spoils he had harvested on the life and death stage today. It would definitely not be so easy to pass the test after returning. Chen Ziya would definitely ask him questions. When the time comes, he will explain the matter clearly, and then check the harvest with her. It's good to distract her attention appropriately, so that she won't keep pestering Lin Changqing. Early the next morning, Lin Changqing cleaned himself up and took off the 2 hidden spirit masks on his face. He put on the hidden spirit mask that he named Zhang Dejin, and after confirming that there was nothing missing, he checked out and left the hotel. He went directly to the south gate. He had agreed with Chen Ziya last night to meet up 10 miles outside the south gate, so he just went there. As for the people from the Xian'an sect, he didn't know if they would continue to go with him. He looked at the jade slip that his grandmother Chen Jie gave him. The 2 sect spaces were not together, and there was still a distance between them. Looking at the marks on the map, Lin Changqing estimated that if he flew, it would take at least 2 or 3 months. So he didn't know if the people from the Xian'an sect would go with him, but there was no point in thinking about these questions. After a while, Mu Jiu'an and the others should also participate in the Jiazi trial, and they should meet again then. At this time, there were still many people leaving Linatun City, and there were also people coming and going at the south gate. Lin Changqing was alone, so he didn't need to release the flying boat. He flew directly on the sword, which was only 10 miles away. It only took a short while to arrive. He saw more than 200 people gathered in one place, and they were all familiar faces. Lin Changqing knew that he had arrived at the place, and it was still easy to find Chen Ziya and the other 3. Their hotel was near the south gate, so it was definitely faster than Lin Changqing's. He landed not far from them, put away his flying sword, and said to them jokingly, "I am Zhang Dejin." Meet the three junior sisters. Hearing the man say his name was Zhang Dejin, the three of them couldn't help laughing, as well as the people around who heard him talking. The main reason was that this name had a festive effect. Every time they heard it, everyone couldn't help but laugh for a while. Among the three people, only Chen Ziyi knew who he was, but seeing that Lin Changqing was joking with him, she didn't immediately reveal his identity. At this time, Hu Yana looked at him, and then said directly, "Brother Zhang, is there anything wrong? If not, please don't stay here. There are only female cultivators here, and it's not appropriate for Brother Zhang to be here." As soon as she finished speaking, Chen Ziyi couldn't help laughing. Lin Changqing didn't expect that he would be driven away by Hu Yana, and couldn't help laughing awkwardly. However, he still restored his original voice, and then said, "Junior sister Hu, it's me. Sorry, I just wanted to play a joke on you." Zhao Mingxia suddenly realized and said, "I just felt that senior brother Lin's figure was very familiar, and I couldn't react for a while. In fact, I should have thought of it a long time ago." Hu Yana also understood at this time, and said a little embarrassedly, "Sorry, senior brother Gao, I didn't expect it to be you. But why are you in disguise again? Did something happen when you went out yesterday?" Lin Changqing nodded and explained, "Something did happen when I went out yesterday. However, this is not the place to talk. I will tell you in detail after I get on the treasure ship." When he said this, he aroused the curiosity of Hu Yana and Zhao Mingxia, but several people also understood that this occasion was indeed inappropriate. Chen Ziyi also cooperated very well and took the initiative to change the topic and talked about their experience yesterday. They went to the stall square in the east gate yesterday. The most important thing is that all three of them harvested several pairs of phoenix tail conchs, as well as some miscellaneous small things. This also proves that everyone is not stupid and knows that phoenix tail conchs are good things, although they are indeed not cheap. Fortunately, after a while, the disciples of Qingyuan sect have basically arrived. At this time, a treasure ship with a 3-story pavilion appeared in the sky, and it rapidly grew in the eyes of all the disciples of Qingyuan sect. It soon became a treasure ship over 200 meters long and landed not far from everyone. Then the voice of the great-grandmother came out, "The agreed time has come. All disciples of Qingyuan sect, board the ship immediately, just like last time, just stay in your last room." Hearing this, everyone began to board the ship one after another. Fortunately, there were only 300 or 400 people in total, and they were all in place in a short while. At this time, Lin Changqing and the other 4 had gathered in Chen Ziyi's room. Of course, they mainly wanted to know what happened to Lin Changqing yesterday. Only Chen Ziyi roughly guessed a little, but now that Lin Changqing has returned, she is not in a hurry. She fiddled with the tea set and made Qingyu tea for everyone, but Hu Yana didn't have such good patience and asked directly, "Senior brother Gao, what happened to you yesterday? It's easier to come back and reunite." And Zhao Mingxia also asked, "Senior brother Lin, you didn't go to the life and death stage yesterday, did you?" Lin Changqing didn't expect Zhao Mingxia to be so smart and guessed it right at once, so he didn't keep it a secret and said directly, "Junior sister Zhao guessed right. I encountered those stink bugs again yesterday, and they continued to come up to die, so I couldn't help but put the leader on the life and death stage. After killing them with one blow, they left, but I was afraid that someone was still following them, so I didn't go back to reunite with you last night. As for easy, it is also to minimize some unnecessary troubles." That's what happened. When Zhao Mingxia heard it, she said happily, "Senior brother Lin killed well. These stink bugs should not be alive. If you ask me, Lin'an City knows about it, and should give senior brother some rewards. Otherwise, having these stink bugs there will really affect everyone's impression of Lin'an City." Chapter 428 13 Sword Formations. Hu Yana heard something different and couldn't help but ask excitedly, "Senior brother Gao, in my impression, isn't the leading cultivator a cultivator of the late foundation building stage? Senior brother actually killed him with one strike. It's amazing. Tell us quickly, what method did you use?" Chen Ziyi was also very curious, so she urged, "Senior brother has this kind of thunder method, tell us quickly and let us see it." Seeing that they were all so curious, it wasn't a mysterious method anyway, at least the 3 of them had seen it, so there was nothing to hide. So she said directly, "It's using the thunder horn. You have also seen that spiritual weapon. It's just that I only had the cultivation of the key refining stage before, and could only exert part of its power. Now that I have established a foundation, I can gather 3 real Zhengjin God thunders at a time. So when I caught him off guard, I solved the cultivator of the late foundation building stage with one strike. Hearing this, the three of them suddenly realized that the thunder horn that Lin Changqing mentioned was known to them. He understood the power of that thing even more. At that time, Lin Changqing relied on it to travel across the Jiang secret realm. Then Chen Ziya and the others asked some more specific questions. Lin Changqing answered everything he could answer, and he also used the spring and autumn style to pass on the things he couldn't answer. Hu Yana and Zhao Mingxia stayed here for about 2 hours, then said goodbye and went back. Now there were only him and Chen Ziya left here. At this time, Chen Ziya looked at him with a smile. Lin Changqing also knew that he had spoken out of turn to her. He had just promised her the night before that he would not take risks on the stage of life and death, but he didn't expect that he forgot it when he was angry yesterday. He quickly smiled and said, "Yair. Don't look at me like that. I reflected on myself yesterday and knew that I did something wrong. I promise not to do this kind of thing again in the future, so don't worry. Let's take a look at my trophies yesterday." After that, he took out all the things he picked up on the stage of life and death yesterday. Seeing that Lin Changqing had admitted his mistake, Chen Ziya stopped dwelling on the matter and took up a storage bag to start refining. Lin Changqing had just picked up another one. Yesterday, he found 2 storage bags on the life and death stage. There was also a severely damaged shield, a jade pendant, and a set of 12 flying swords. The shield should not be worth repairing, but he still picked it up. After all, it was something with spiritual energy. It can't be wasted. It can be recycled and thrown directly into the deep pit. It took a while for both of them to finish refining the storage bags. They still followed the old rules and poured out everything inside. Then they worked together to sort out all the spiritual objects on the ground. There were really a lot of things, but the 2 of them finished it quickly. There were a total of 6 spiritual objects, including the 3 that Lin Changqing picked up. In addition to the 3 defensive spiritual objects, there was also a top-grade gold flying sword and a set of 9 second-grade low-grade flying swords, which were still water attributed. He felt that it was particularly suitable for Chen Ziya. So he directly gave her the top-grade defensive spiritual weapon jade pendant and 2 sets of flying swords. The 2 of them were already Taoist couples, so Chen Ziya did not refuse. Besides, she needed to increase her strength to participate in the Jiazi trial. The spiritual stones were also quite good. There were more than 200,000 low-grade spiritual stones and 300 medium-grade spiritual stones, all of which Lin Changqing collected himself. This was equivalent to earning back the spiritual stones he spent in Wanbao Pavilion yesterday. The world of cultivation is indeed a place where the strong become stronger. The next thing was the most eye-catching thing, a large pile of monster materials, which was also the thing that took up the most space in the 2 storage bags. However, most of them were mainly water-based materials. Neither of them knew how to refine weapons, so after discussing it, they put them back into the storage bags. They were going to give them all to Hu Yana to deal with. Anyway, they didn't need them themselves, and they would be dealt with in the end, so it would be better to give them directly to Hu Yana. There were also some spiritual medicines and spiritual herbs, a total of more than 20 plants, which Lin Changqing planned to keep for himself. There were also 7 or 8 bottles of elixirs. After checking them, except for the elixirs for healing and restoring mana, they were divided by the 2. There were also 4 bottles for improving cultivation, but neither of them could use them now, so they were left with Lin Changqing first. The remaining were 3 jade slips and a pile of sundries. The 2 were not interested in the sundries, but each took a jade slip and put it on his forehead to read. Soon Lin Changqing understood what it was. It turned out to be a bill for dividing the spoils, which included their gains during this period and the distribution records. Moreover, there were as many as 12 people in this group, which was a bit of a pity. If he saw it tomorrow, he might find a way to hand it over to the patrolling Black Armored Army. See if he can use the Black Armored Army to catch all the bugs. Now that he has left, he has missed the best opportunity, which is really a pity. He picked up another jade slit and checked it, and found that it was actually a sea map with a very large range. It was densely marked with the names of some monsters and their approximate range of activities. However, no matter how huge it was only useful near Linian City, so it was not very useful to Lin Changqing. Now there was only the one in Chen Ziya's hand, but she hadn't put it down yet. It was estimated that there must be something in the jade slip that she was interested in. So he put the classified things into the storage bag first, and then drank the green jade tea. waiting for Chen Ziyi to finish reading the contents. After a long while, Chen Ziyi happily put down the jade slip in her hand and saw that Lin Changqing was already waiting for her. After handing the jade slip to Lin Changqing, he began to explain, "I didn't expect that I would have such an unexpected gain today. There are quite a lot of contents in this jade slip. The front part is a set of water-based exercises, which can be practiced to the great perfection of the Golden Core stage. It can be regarded as a one-level exercise. I took a rough look at it, and the training ideas in it are still quite unique. I can keep it as a reference. The latter part is 13 sets of sword formations, which are very unique, from the simplest Liangai sword formation to the final Xiangyang Disha sword formation. And it can be verified with the inheritance of the formation master I learned, which is very suitable for me. If I want to get started, it should be very easy." Chapter 429, Second Level of Foundation Building. Hearing Chen Ziyi say this, Lin Changqing also became interested. His 3 golden swords could barely be considered as the prototype of a sword formation. So he also wanted to see what a real sword formation looked like. He put the jade slip on his forehead and began to read. He only glanced at the water system skills in the front. The focus was on the part about the sword formation in the back. He specifically picked the 3-talent sword formation to read. After comparing it with his own application method, it turned out that the running trajectory of the 3-talent sword formation was much more exquisite than what he learned from Chen Ziyi. It can be said that there is no comparison at all. What he figured out by himself is much worse than what professionals like him can do. However, the sword formation is really profound and extensive. He doesn't have so much time and energy to study it now. It's better to give it to Chen Ziyi. If there is a need, it will be easier to let Chen Ziyi teach him. So after taking a rough look, he handed the jade slip to Chen Ziyi and said, "This thing should be handed over to you, so that it can achieve twice the result with half the effort. When you fully understand it in the future, take the time to come and teach me." Chen Ziyi readily agreed to hear this. This was originally his strong point, and she also wanted to strengthen her own means. These sword formations were the most suitable for her. Besides, now even the matching spiritual tools are available, which is a match made in heaven. Now her mind has also flown to the set of second-level inferior flying swords that Lin Changqing just gave her. There are a total of 9 flying swords in that set, which just corresponds to the 9 palace flying star sword formation in the jade slip. She has decided that in the near future, she will first nibble on this sword formation. The two talked for a while, and he was driven out by Chen Ziyi. There was no way, now she was too interested in the sword formation. Disliked Lin Changqing for hindering her, and asked Lin Changqing not to disturb her these days. She wanted to retreat and deduce the sword formation. Since she said so, Lin Changqing couldn't disturb her, so he returned to his room and started practicing. He already felt it. According to his practice progress, it will take about 2 months to advance to the second level of foundation building. So Lin Changqing is now going all out, hoping to have the second level of foundation building as soon as possible. Therefore, the following days are very regular, and nothing big happens. Time passed like this, day by day, and in the blink of an eye, it was almost 2 months. In order to suddenly build a second level of foundation, Lin Changqing chose the Ren Meridian in the 8 extraordinary meridians as the first breakthrough point after careful consideration a long time ago. During the key refining stage, the 12 meridians are practiced, and in the foundation building stage, the 8 extraordinary meridians are practiced. To break through from the first level of foundation building to the second level of foundation building, you need to open up any one of the 8 extraordinary meridians. After each breakthrough of a level of cultivation, you need to continue to open up the 8 extraordinary meridians. After all the 8 extraordinary meridians are opened, it happens to be the 9th level of foundation building. And now Lin Changqing is at a very important moment. He was attacking the last acupuncture point of the Ren Meridian, the perineum acupuncture point. This position is really very important for a man. If it is not done well, it is very likely that nothing will be done. Therefore, for the sake of his own happiness, Lin Changqing has always been cautious and dare not force it. For several days, he has always used the method of gentle tapping and slow chiseling. Fortunately, there is only a very thin layer left on this acupuncture point barrier. He is now confident of the 9th level, so he decided to break through today. So he led the mana back to the danshan and calmed the mana in the resting state. In the storage bag, He poured out hundreds of medium-grade spirit stones and took 2 more spirit stones in his hand. He began to recover the mana that was just consumed. After a long time, when everything was ready, his mind was restored to perfection. Lin Changqing then redirected the mana and rushed straight to the perineum acupuncture point. The barrier was broken, and he seemed to hear a loud boom in his consciousness. Then a huge negative spiritual pressure began to form in his body, and the spiritual energy from the outside world began to pour into his body. Fortunately, he had foresight just now. He prepared hundreds of medium-grade spiritual stones around him as a preparation for spiritual energy replenishment. After an unknown period of time, Lin Changqing's breath soared again. At this time, he finally successfully advanced to the second level of foundation building. He had the experience of many breakthroughs before. Lin Changqing did not dare to be distracted. He continued to concentrate and began to consolidate his cultivation. This time, the danshan was expanded a little more, and the mana that could be accommodated was more than doubled than before, and the spiritual consciousness should also be improved. The main reason was that they were still on the great-grandmother's treasure ship, so it was not convenient to put the spiritual consciousness randomly. If you want to know how much the spiritual consciousness has been enhanced, you can only wait until you get off the ship and find an opportunity to test it yourself. After several hours, the cultivation was stabilized. Lin Changqing and Chen Ziya next door were relieved. Chen Ziya knew that Lin Changqing would advance in the next few days, so she had been paying attention to his movements. As soon as she sensed the fluctuations of the spiritual energy outside, and the distance was so close, she knew that it must be Lin Changqing who had advanced. Chen Ziya's spiritual roots were much better than his, so half a month ago, she had successfully advanced to the second level of foundation building. In order to catch up with Lin Changqing and not to drag Lin Changqing down in the Jiazi trial, she had been working hard silently. In addition to her own practice, she would deduce formations and practice sword formations. When she was with Lin Changqing, she would release the 36 purple crystal scorpions in her hand. With Lin Changqing as an intermediary, she tried hard to practice various cooperation with the 36 purple crystal scorpions. Now, even if she left Lin Changqing, she can control and command these little guys more smoothly. Of course, it is limited to the 36 in her hand, and it will not work if she changes to other purple crystal scorpions. However, she is now among the foundation-building disciples of Qingyuan sect, and her combat power should be considered relatively advanced. Of course, she may have less experience in fighting. But it doesn't matter. After arriving at the place, Lin Changqing will arrange some time every day to fight with Chen Ziya to improve her actual combat ability. This is what they have discussed in advance. Of course, during this period of time, Hu Yunna and Zhao Mingxia still come here frequently, but after seeing Chen Ziya practicing so hard, it caused them a lot of pressure. Now they are more or less influenced by her. Now Hu Yunna and Zhao Mingxia are more motivated to practice than before. Chapter 430, Cumulus Mountain. Especially when Chen Ziya broke through to the second level of foundation building, they were so excited. Therefore, although they still came here every day, they didn't stay as long as before. They all spent more time on cultivation, but they didn't have the 100-year-old red fruit wine as an aid. So the effect of cultivation was not as obvious as that of Lin Changqing and Chen Ziya, but it was also an improvement. At this time, Lin Changqing also stopped practicing and put all the unused medium-grade spirit stones in the room back into the storage bag. Then he went to the next door. When Chen Ziya saw him, she happily opened her mouth and congratulated him. Congratulations, Brother Qing. Your cultivation has made another step forward. At this rate, you may be able to officially impact the Purple Mansion period within a decade. Since that time in Chaoyuan City, Chen Ziya and Mu Ziya Oxio didn't know how they came into contact, and Chen Ziya also learned from Mu Ziya Oxio and started calling Lin Changqing Brother Qing, in private. But when there are outsiders, she will call him Brother Qing, with one less word. Now he has gotten used to it. Lin Changqing had just advanced to the next level, and was in a very good mood. He smiled and hugged her directly in his arms. After kissing her hard for a few times, he said, I'll try my best. After all, in Zuanayan continent, the foundation building stage is really nothing. Only when you reach the Purple Mansion stage and can use magic weapons and magical powers, can you have a little self-protection power. So you can't fall behind too much, understand? I want you to accompany me forever. Remember, Chen Ziya was obviously his Taoist partner, and the two of them were considered an old couple, but when she heard Lin Changqing's straightforward earthy love words, Chen Ziya still blushed, and when Lin Changqing saw her like this, he couldn't help but tease her a few more times. However, after a while, Hu Yunna and Zhao Mingxia came over. Obviously, they both felt a movement just now. So when they came over and sensed the unstable aura on Lin Changqing after the advancement, they immediately understood what was going on. Zhao Mingxia was quite surprised, but she was still very happy for Lin Changqing, so she opened her mouth to congratulate him. Congratulations, senior brother Lin, your cultivation has improved further, and there is hope for the Purple Palace. Hu Yunna was even happier when she saw Lin Changqing advance to the second level of foundation building, because she knew that Lin Changqing would definitely participate in the Jiazi trial. Now that his cultivation is higher, it will definitely be safer to enter the secret realm, so she also said happily, congratulations, senior brother. Your cultivation has improved greatly, and you will definitely shine in the Jiazi trial. After hearing this, Lin Changqing smiled and said, thank you, two junior sisters. However, my cultivation is really nothing compared to others. Both knew that Lin Changqing was being modest. After all, not long ago, he had just killed a late-stage foundation-building cultivator who often made a living on the life and death stage with one blow. Now that he has advanced again, it goes without saying that his strength will definitely be even stronger, which also made the two of them feel the pressure more truly. So he decided to practice harder after returning, so as not to be left further and further behind by Lin Changqing and Chen Ziya. So after Hu Yunna and the other person sat for a while, they went back to practice. A few days passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, everyone on the treasure ship suddenly heard the voice of Chen Shanzhenren, attention all disciples. In an hour, we will soon arrive at Jiayin Mountain, the sect's base in Zuanayan continent. Everyone, get ready and pack your things. After getting off the treasure ship, the outer disciples will report to the General Affairs Hall, and the inner disciples will be led back to the peak by the people of each peak. Finally, they were about to arrive. After receiving the notice from Chen Shanzhenren, Lin Changqing packed up his things and checked that there was nothing missing. He arrived at Chen Ziya's place, and soon Hu Yunna and Zhao Mingxia also came. Chen Ziya made some spiritual tea to entertain them. Zhao Mingxia couldn't help but say, just a few of you. Either my grandmother is here or my master is here. I don't know who is here in our Zaya Kangshan lineage. I don't know if there will be anyone to take me in when the time comes. Hu Yunna couldn't help but say, didn't your master or master tell you before you left? If no one comes to take you in when the time comes, you can come with me first. After all, there must be underground fire in our place, which should be able to meet your needs for cultivation and alchemy. When Zhao Mingxia heard that Hu Yunna wanted to take her in, she hurriedly said, thank you, senior sister Hu, for now. Although my master didn't give any specific instructions at the time. But he also said that I would understand it naturally when I got here. So I think there should still be someone to take me in, but I don't know who it is. After hearing what she said, everyone was relieved. After all, they couldn't bear to see her, and she would have nowhere to go. An hour passed quickly. In fact, when the time was almost up, everyone had already reached the deck. The four of them, including Lin Changqing, were no exception. They could see from afar the towering main peak of Jiayin Mountain and hundreds of small peaks of different heights around it. The area was also very vast. Lin Changqing looked at it from afar and felt that it must be many times larger than Qingyuan Mountain. However, for a moment, Lin Changqing didn't know how big it was, but it seemed that there were many more monks here than in Qingyuan Corner. After several powerful divine senses swept over them, the treasure ship landed in a very large square. Everyone left the treasure ship automatically without being told. The people who had been waiting here for a long time had already begun to greet these newly arrived monks. A middle-aged fat monk was the first to shout, all outer disciples, come to my place and gather. I will take you to choose your future residence. As soon as he finished speaking, many new monks gathered around the middle-aged fat monk, accounting for almost half of the new monks. Next, each peak began to call back their own disciples, and at this time, the great-grandmother in the treasure ship disappeared. At this time, Mu Qingrong had already arrived. She stood beside him and Chen Ziya, waiting for them to greet her. Then, a beautiful female monk who looked to be in her 20s or 30s came in front of them. Mu Qingrong happily greeted them, second senior sister, you are here to pick us up. We haven't seen each other for a long time, But senior sister is still so beautiful. She hasn't changed at all. Chapter 431 Peach Blossom Forest Muayang Residence. The visitor happily hugged Mu Qingrong and then said, "Seventh junior sister has always been so beautiful. Where did master go? Why didn't I see them? Are these two little ones the descendants of our Changsha Peak?" Mu Qingrong nodded and said, "Master and the two uncles should have gone to meet the ancestors first. These two little ones are the descendants and disciples of master." After that, she turned to Lin Changqing and the others and said, "This is master's second disciple and Ziya's second uncle Su Changfang. Kinger, you and Ziya are Taoist companions, so you might as well just call her Ziya." After Mu Qingrong said this, the two of them agreed and formally greeted the second uncle. Chen Ziya greets the second master, Lin Changqing greets the second master. Su Changfang looked at them, smiled at them, and said, "We are all family, so there is no need to be polite. However, I didn't expect you to be a Taoist couple, so I only prepared one gift, so I'll just owe it to you. When we meet next time, I'll give it to you together." Lin Changqing and the other two felt that the second master was very straightforward. After hearing what she said, they repeatedly said that the second master didn't need to spend money. However, she brought him here in a few words and settled the matter. As juniors, the two of them couldn't say anything about this matter. Just at this time, Huyana and Zhao Lixia came over and told them that someone had come to pick them up. Now they have to go back to the peak first, so they came here to leave their address and agreed to come over to visit next time they are free, and then left first. Su Changfang saw that there were no people in the square, and knew that his master should not come back so soon. So he said to the three of them, "Then let's go too. Let's go back to the peak and arrange a place for you to live. If there's anything, wait for the master to come back and talk." After that, he threw out a flying boat, carrying them and flew to the interior of the Jian mountain. After flying for about half an hour, after breaking through two invisible barriers, they landed on a relatively large mountain. He introduced them to them. "This mountain is the station assigned to our Changsha Peak lineage. We still use the previous name and call it Changsha Peak. The foot of the mountain is arranged for male disciples to live. The female disciples are assigned to the mountainside, and the few of us are near the top of the mountain. The top of the mountain is reserved for the master to live. The layout of her courtyard is still the same as that of the sect. When the time comes, you can go up and take a look and you will know. Since the two of you have already formed a Taoist couple, I will not separate you. First, find a courtyard for you to rest in a relatively quiet place on the mountainside." Lin Changqing and Chen Ziya heard that they were quite satisfied with this arrangement, so they both agreed. Afterwards, the second uncle found them a small courtyard with a very beautiful environment near the top of the mountain. Both of them were very satisfied with this place, so they thanked Su Changfang again and again. She told them to have a good rest first, not to run around for the time being, and to wait for the great-grandmother to come back. After both agreed, she took Mu Qingrong and left first. This time, only Lin Changqing and Chen Ziya were left. The two smiled at each other, and Chen Ziya said, "Brother Qing, let's clean up this Muayang residence first. This will be our home in the future, and we will probably live here for a long time." Lin Changqing readily agreed, so the two of them started to work together. Fortunately, they were all monks, so this small cleaning task was completed in a short time. The layout of this courtyard is similar to the previous Tingfang Zaya Azhu, except that there is no bamboo forest next to it, but there is an extra peach forest. The scenery is indeed very good, and it just happened to catch up with the season when peach blossoms are in full bloom, so the two people fell in love with this place at first sight. After the two settled themselves, they went to the peach forest to enjoy the flowers. When they came back, Lin Changqing also picked a few bunches and found a big bottle to keep in their room. A few days passed in a blink of an eye. Lin Changqing and his wife also met the three disciples of the great-grandmother. They were the second uncle Su Changfang, the third uncle Li Shiding, and the fifth uncle Zhou Liren, as well as several disciples they accepted here. Like Chen Ziya, Lin Changqing also received a welcome gift from the three uncles, which were all suitable for their use at this stage. The middle and upper grade spiritual tools and some elixirs. But it was just icing on the cake. Lin Changqing and his wife's spiritual tools were enough. They did not refine and use the things given by the three uncles. Now the two are drinking tea in the yard. Since they have arrived here, the most important thing next is to wait for the news of the start of the Jiazi trial. So now the two are still relatively leisurely, but after drinking this pot of green jade tea, the two will start to learn from each other. This kind of competition has been going on for several days. Although the effect is not as obvious as in actual combat, it has also benefited Chen Ziya, a cultivator who rarely fights with others. Her ability to fight has improved significantly. Even if she uses the sword formation to cover herself, it will not be so easy for Lin Changqing to defeat her. That's right, in Chen Ziya's hands, she prefers to use the sword formation for defense, which makes Lin Changqing speechless. He has been trying to correct her habit these days, but he didn't expect that the two of them were about to start competing. Hu Yana and Zhao Mingxia came to visit, so they had to suspend their plans to compete. After the four people sat down as host and guest, Zhao Mingxia couldn't wait to speak. Brother Lin, I just heard from my uncle that the fluctuations of the secret realm have been captured. This Jiazi trial should start in 3 months. So I came to inform you as soon as I received the news, but it takes about half a month to fly from here to the place where the secret realm is. So Brother Lin and Sister Chen, you still have 2.5 months to prepare well. This news came too timely. With a more accurate time, Lin Changqing knew what was going on and could make some corresponding arrangements. At least he could rest assured to expand the remaining 3 Thunder Acupoints, and even open up a new Thunder Acupoint. At that time, the Thunder Drum will be used as a suppressant. In fact, this Thunder Drum can also be regarded as a set of spiritual tools. It is composed of a second-level top-grade Thunder Drum and 2 second-level top-grade Thunder Hammers. In theory, it can be used as a suppressant for the 3 Thunder Acupoints. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 432 31,000 Acres. However, Lin Changqing was not going to disassemble it for use. As for the Thunder Attribute spiritual tools, he would just keep an eye out for them in the future. It would be much easier to collect Thunder Attribute spiritual tools, or even Thunder Attribute magic weapons, in Zuanayan continent. It would be much more convenient as long as there were enough spirit stones. After listening to what Zhao Mingxia said, Lin Changqing said with a smile, "Thank you, junior sister Zhao. You came all the way here to tell us the news. By the way, are you used to living here these days?" Zhao Mingxia nodded and said, "I'm fine. Although Master and Grandmaster didn't come this time, several uncles are very nice to me. They still take good care of me. There are also many senior brothers and sisters who are also good. I have met some of them several times and should be able to have further exchanges. Generally speaking, there won't be any big problems." At this time, Huyana couldn't help laughing, and opened her mouth to expose, "Didn't you say on the road just now that senior brother Chen and senior brother Ding from your lineage have been coming to you these days with impure intentions, and you feel very annoyed? Why are you saying now that there won't be any big problems?" After hearing what Huyana said, everyone laughed, and they all understood what was going on. It should be that the 2 senior brothers had taken a fancy to Zhao Mingxia at the same time. They were afraid that someone else would get there first, so they all came together, but their purpose was too obvious, which made Zhao Mingxia annoyed. Zhao Mingxia blushed when Huyana ruthlessly exposed her, but she still explained, "Except for those 2 toads, I'm talking about the senior sisters." Hearing the word toad, everyone laughed even harder, but they also understood what she meant, so they stopped making fun of her about this matter. Huyana said again, "I came here with my master, but I didn't encounter these messy things. But this place is too bad. It takes almost an hour to fly here from our place. It's not as convenient as before. This is the most annoying thing." Lin Changqing didn't know how to respond, so Chen Ziya said, "It's okay. At most, I will visit the 2 junior sisters more often in the future. I can't always ask you 2 to come here. I also want to go to your place to get familiar with it, otherwise I don't know where to find someone to make pills and refine weapons in the future." Hearing her say this, everyone laughed, and then the 2 of them stayed at Lin Changqing's place for almost 2 hours, eating and drinking before going back. After they left, Lin Changqing and Chen Ziya exchanged ideas for more than an hour before going back to rest. When introducing everyone and introducing them to each other that day, the great-grandmother had already handed them the Qianji jade pendant. 1/2. This pair of jade pendants belongs to magic weapons, so the 2 of them now spend a little time every day to sacrifice and refine it. It is estimated that in another 5 or 6 days, the ritual will be almost completed, but there is no rush now. Lin Changqing is going to go into the inner space first to take a look. He didn't go in a few days ago because it was inconvenient. Today, Chen Ziya arranged a second-level shielding array and a defensive array in their yard. It is not a portable array arranged with an array plate, but a real array arranged according to the sitting position of the yard, using the method of burying array flags to arrange the array. In addition to the array he arranged himself, he dared to enter the inner space today. After activating all the arrays and the restrictions on the door, Lin Changqing went directly into the inner space. It has been more than 2 months since he came in. This time, he felt the changes in the inner space again. The most obvious thing is that the inner space has become higher again. It is almost twice as high as before. He couldn't help but fly a big circle with his sword. It is estimated that the current land area is about 30,000 acres. But after flying like this, he doesn't know anything else. All his spirit pets, as well as Su Miniang and Zhao Liu, know that he has come in and rushed to his side. The other 3 color deer didn't change much, but Lu Xiaomin had obviously grown up a lot. Lin Changqing checked and found that it was already at the peak of the first stage and could be promoted to the middle stage. So he decided to help it later. After spending some time dealing with the deer, except for Lu Xiaomin, he sent the other 3 color deer to play. Seeing that Lin Changqing was free, Su Miniang and Zhao Liu came forward to greet him. Your subordinate greets the master, your subordinate greets the master. Lin Changqing waved his hand and said directly, no need to be polite. Have you measured the specific area of the inner space now? Su Miniang quickly replied, your subordinate measured it some time ago, and it is about 31,000 acres. But now there are still many places abandoned, which is a pity. Master, can you consider adding some more manpower to the inner space? Otherwise, with only the 2 of us and 7 3-color deer, we are really too busy. After hearing what Su Miniang said, he also knew that it was too much to ask 2 people to take care of more than 30,000 acres of land. Moreover, when he came in this time, he had to throw the high-quality raw stones he harvested in Linton City last time into the deep pit for Lin Changqing to absorb. By then, the area of the inner space must have at least doubled or tripled, and they would be even more unable to take care of it. So she nodded and said, okay, I got it. I'll pay attention to the manpower. You just have to work hard during this period. In a few months, I should be able to get some people over, and then you won't have to work so hard anymore. Hearing Lin Changqing's promise to add more manpower, both of them couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. The 2 of them now regard this place as their home, so they can't stand seeing so many places abandoned. But they have been busy reclaiming wasteland and taking care of various spiritual medicines and plants, and now they have no time to practice. Therefore, Su Miniang couldn't help but give suggestions to the master. Fortunately, Lin Changqing understood and adopted their opinions. At this time, Lin Changqing continued, tell me about what you have gained from the inner space during this period of time. The 2 people responded, and then Zhao Liu spoke first, Master. During this period of time, we have harvested nearly 2,100-year-old red fruits. According to the master's instructions, half of the red fruits were given to Mei Niang to make red fruit wine. And the remaining half has been packed up and placed in the storage room together with more than 20 boxes of green jade tea. In addition, there is an earth soul fruit tree planted by the master himself, which has matured. However, the subordinates have not touched the 12 earth soul fruits on it. They are still on the tree, and I want to wait for the master to come back before dealing with them. Chapter 433, Clever Queen Bee. Hearing this, Lin Changqing's heart moved, and he immediately made arrangements in his mind. These earth soul fruits really came at the right time, just right to use them to enhance the strength of him and Chen Ziya. Each person should refine one and several times, and the rest should be given to Lin Changqing to absorb so that it can recover earlier. Hearing this good news, he was still very happy, so he nodded and said with a smile, great. I just happen to have something to do recently. I just need earth soul fruits to enhance my strength. You have done very well. Wait a minute, each of you will be rewarded with 3 taels of red fruit wine. By the way, is there anything else in the inner space? If so, let's finish it together. When the 2 heard that Lin Changqing said that he would reward them with 3 taels of red fruit wine, they were immediately very happy. They all knew that this thing was very precious, but more importantly, the 2 felt the master's recognition of their hard work during this period. They decided to do more in the future so that they can continue to be recognized by the master and obtain more cultivation resources. After both of them thanked Lin Changqing, Zhao Linyu continued, all the other scattered spiritual medicines, those that really couldn't be kept, were also collected, marked with names, and placed in the newly built pharmacy. In addition, during this period, the two kinds of spiritual fish that I was responsible for breeding have grown to varying degrees. But in general, they are still too small and have not reached the level of being caught and eaten, so if you want to eat spiritual fish, wait for a while. It's best to wait until they are fully mature and lay eggs before considering eating them. That's about it, there's nothing else. After listening to this, Lin Changqing was quite satisfied with the result. So he nodded and said, there's no rush for spiritual fish for the time being. Bringing them in just once to enrich your recipes. But it's better to wait until they can continue to reproduce independently before considering eating them. Zhao Linyu nodded and agreed. Su Miniang continued, on my side, the Zhuguo wine that has been brewed is still in the wine vessel and has not been extracted. However, there should be 80 to 90 kilograms of Zhuguo wine. The rest is not yet brewed, so let's not talk about it for now. The most important thing is that during this period of time, the two of us have opened up another 500 acres of wasteland and are planning to plant Zhuguo trees. We have the most stalks of fruit cores and the like, and they are already made, but now the three-colored deer will definitely not be able to take care of this part of the Zhuguo trees. However, as long as these Zhuguo trees can take root and sprout, let the rest grow naturally. Anyway, it's better than leaving it there. Lin Changqing was very happy when he heard this. There were another 500 acres of Zhuguo trees, so he thought about it and praised, you have done a great job. I am very happy. You must keep it up. When there are results, I will reward you again. I bought a lot of wine jugs this time. Go and get all the successfully brewed Zhuguo wine into the wine jugs. I'm going to take it out. Wait a minute, I'll give each of you a little reward. Go quickly. After saying that, he handed over the pile of wine jugs and sundries bought at the grocery store in Linan City to Su Miniang. He then said to Zhao Linyu, you also go over there and help me bring back the 12 earth soul fruits. I won't go over there. After Su Miniang and Zhao Linyu agreed, they left to complete what Lin Changqing had ordered. He took Lu Xiamen to the yard and took a look. Sure enough, there were a few more rooms. I think they were all made by the two of them. One of them should be used to store spiritual medicine. Lin Changqing went in and took a look. Except for one room with many grids, the remaining rooms had nothing in them. It was really too simple. He decided that when he came in next time, he must collect more commonly used daily necessities, building materials, etc. and bring them into the inner space. And he really needed to prepare some things. After all, he had made up his mind to get more people in, and these things must be prepared in advance. After keeping this in mind, he carried Lu Xiamen to an empty room, and then took out 200-year-old red fruits and prepared to feed them to it. This made Lu Xiamen very happy, and she acted cute and coquettish, and kept calling him Yo-Yo. She was really excited. It seemed that it also understood what Lin Changqing meant, and knew that the master would help it advance today, so it was so excited. After eating the two red fruits, it played with Lin Changqing again, but not long after, Lu Xiamen slowly fell into deep sleep. Lin Changqing placed it in the room so that it would not be disturbed. After a while, when it wakes up, it should be a first-level mid-stage spirit beast. It can help a little. He just checked the remaining Lu Xiaoling and Lu Xiaokeng, and they have not reached the standard for advancement. Then he took away the 100-year-old red fruits and green jade tea in the storage room. Now he has too many second-level spiritual pets, and the consumption of Zhuguo is too amazing, so he is ready to take as many as he can get here. After leaving the small courtyard, he went directly to the edge of the deep pit. Unexpectedly, the land area of the inner space has become larger, and the deep pit has also become much larger. But it's good that he still has a supergiant raw stone in his hand, and this time he can get it in together. He stretched the storage bag above the deep pit, and then opened the storage bag, letting more than 10 or 20 raw stones of different sizes fall straight into the deep pit. Not long after, he received Lin Changliu's feedback in his heart. This time it was the strongest feedback. At this time, Su Miniang and Zhao Linyu came back and handed all their things to Lin Changqing, and he gave them 3 taels of Zhuguo wine each, and handed over the magic tools and spiritual tools refined by Huyana, as well as the spiritual tools and elixirs of the 3 uncles. Let them distribute it themselves, mark the excess parts, and put them in the storage room, and see how to deal with them when the time comes. He also told them about Lu Xiaoman sleeping in the yard and asked them to look after her when they were free. After dealing with these things, he wanted to exit the inner space, but he saw a few topaz bees flying around not far away. He knew that it must be the queen bee reminding him, and he couldn't help but laugh. The little queen bee seemed quite smart. Chapter 434, 3 Tribulations Golden Life Pill. When he got to the beehive, wow! After not coming in for a while, the beehive had grown a whole circle. He melted a spiritual pill into water, and then summoned the queen bee. After a conversation, he realized that the number of bee colonies had increased a lot. There were about 5,000 of them. Fortunately, there was only one nest of spiritual bees in the entire inner space, otherwise there would be no way to feed so many. And most importantly, Lin Changqing did not pay attention to their honey for the time being, otherwise he would definitely not be able to feed so many topaz bees. However, he also gave the queen bee an order to control the bee colony to this scale for the time being, and not to expand the colony without orders. As soon as this order was given, Lin Changqing felt that the queen bee was very resistant and did not agree to him. This made him a little disappointed. After all, the queen bee was not raised by him since she was a child. Such a spiritual beast that was contracted by him out of helplessness is still relatively wild, which made him a little unhappy. Perhaps sensing his emotions, the queen bee reluctantly agreed, and Lin Changqing also knew that the queen bee just wanted to advance. There must be enough elite colonies and royal jelly support, otherwise it will still be stuck at the peak of the first level like it is now. However, after experiencing this incident, Lin Changqing decided not to help the queen bee advance for the time being. Anyway, the bee colony is enough now. He summoned Liu Yaoguang through the contract, told him about Lu Xiaoman's advancement in the yard, and told them not to worry. Lin Changqing withdrew from the inner space. After all, he was still in the Qinghai sect's residence. It was not good to stay in the inner space for too long, which would increase the risk of exposure. After returning to his room, Lin Changqing took out the Qianji jade pendant and continued to sacrifice. After the mind and mana were almost consumed, he stopped to rest, and went back and forth 2 or 3 times. Only then did he complete the planned sacrifice progress for today. The next step is the practice of magic and thunder scriptures. He arranges his time very full every day. Maybe he is free in the morning and can accompany Chen Ziyai to drink tea, chat and learn from each other, but this time must be squeezed out to feed spirit beasts and spirit insects. The purple crystal bees in Chen Ziyai's hand were also taken back into the spirit beast bracelet by Lin Changqing. Every few days, he would prepare monster meat, second-level spirit crystals, and the most important 100-year red fruit for them in advance every time. He never neglected their cultivation. Since coming here, Lin Changqing rarely wandered around, and only went to Jiayan City, which was 100 miles away, once. This Jiayan City is similar to Qinghai City and Qinghai Corner. Many ordinary families and descendants of Qinghai sect monks live there. The area is several times larger than that of Qinghai City. That time, 4 people went together. The gains from the street stalls were not great. In the gambling stone shop in Jiayan City Market, he only gained a small piece of top-grade raw stone. So after going there once, he didn't want to go again. After all, he was not a disciple of Qinghai sect, and he knew that there were many Jiandan and Yuanying monks in this place. Therefore, in order not to cause trouble for the great-grandmother, he stayed in Shuangzhou with Chen Ziyai honestly, practicing, drinking tea, and training spirit insects. Occasionally, I would also have a small gathering with Hu Yunna and Zhao Mingxia. The 4 of us would still have a very comfortable and carefree time. Before I knew it, 2.5 months had passed. Lin Changqing and his friend had just returned from their great-grandmother's place. The topic they were talking about was about gathering at the Sect Square tomorrow to set out to participate in the Jiazi trial. This time, a Yuanying ancestor from Qinghai sect led the team, but the great-grandmother took into account that Mu Qingrong, Lin Changqing, Chen Ziyai, and the other 3 foundation-building disciples from the Chengshi Peak lineage would also participate in this trial, so she took on the task of protecting the law. After all, it was impossible for a Yuanying ancestor to personally come forward to manage these young cultivators. To say that a Yuanying ancestor led the team was actually just a deterrent. These young cultivators might not even see the ancestor. Therefore, the people who actually did the work were still the Jiandan cultivators who took on the task of protecting the law. Fortunately, Lin Changqing and Chen Ziyai were ready early in the morning. Moreover, They felt more at ease with their great-grandmother accompanying them this time. However, when they returned to the door of Muang residence, Huyana and Zhao Mingxia were already waiting for them. It seemed that they all knew that they would set off early tomorrow morning. After several people greeted each other and sat down, Huyana said directly, "We will set off tomorrow, you should all be ready. I can't help too much, I can only prepare a few small things for senior brother Gao and senior sister Chen." After that, she took out 2 small jade boxes and gave one to Lin Changqing and Chen Ziyi respectively. The 2 were about to refuse. At this time, Zhao Mingxia also spoke and said, "This is mine." After that, she also took out 2 jade boxes and gave one to Lin Changqing and Chen Ziyi respectively. Lin Changqing and Chen Ziyi looked at each other. It seemed that the 2 must have discussed it. Lin Changqing simply opened the 2 jade boxes in his hand. What Huyana gave was a silver white bead, which exuded a violent breath. He was very familiar with this thing. His grandmother, Qi Chen, had once given him a protective bead, and it was still in his storage bag. This thing should be called Sky Thunder Bead. It was made by collecting the energy that was released by the real thunder tribulation, and it was very precious. And it couldn't be made in batches, so this thing was really expensive. And what Zhao Mingxia gave was a light golden pill, which Lin Changqing didn't know what it was. He turned around and saw that what Chen Ziyi was holding was exactly the same as his. So he couldn't help but say, "I know that this Sky Thunder Bead and this unknown pill are both very precious things. We understand and appreciate the intentions of the 2 junior sisters, but we have made perfect preparations. If we really don't need these things, you should take them back." Chen Ziyi also nodded and said, "2 junior sisters, Brother Qing and I are really ready. Nothing will happen, so don't worry. I know that these 2 things must be your own treasures for self-protection, so we can't accept them. You should take them back first." Zhao Mingxia shook her head and said, "What I prepared for you is the 3 Tribulations Golden Life Pill. You must accept this pill. Its function is that no matter how badly you are injured, as long as you don't die on the spot, you can buy yourself enough time to heal your wounds by taking this pill, up to 3 months. But during this time, try to avoid using too much mana, otherwise you may really die." Chapter 435, A Sharp Rise in Spiritual Awareness. Lin Changqing and Chen Ziyi were very surprised to hear that the 2 people were holding such precious things. You know, this Sanji Jinming pill is very famous. Although it is not as precious as Zifu Tuangsun pill. But for them, it is also very rare. This thing is much more precious than the foundation building pill. And the most important thing is that it is very rare and rarely seen on the market. The main reason is that there is a kind of Sanji resurrection grass inside, which is very rare and hard to get. Generally, if it can be refined, it will not be circulated on the market casually. It is kept for personal use or traded to relatives and friends. However, after Lin Changqing knew that it was this kind of pill, he knew that he could no longer refuse. With it, it is equivalent to having another layer of insurance, and he happened to have no such thing prepared, but he had a lot of healing pills. In this case, just accept the things they sent. It is impossible for one to accept and the other not to accept. As for the friendship of the 2 junior sisters, he will naturally remember it in his heart, and find an opportunity to give back to them in the future. So he said, "2 junior sisters, the things you gave me are too precious. I shouldn't have accepted them. But I know the friendship between the 2 junior sisters, so these 4 treasures will be temporarily lent to us. If they are not used in this Jiazi trial, then when we come back, we will return the treasures to you. If they are consumed, we can find similar treasures in the future to compensate the 2 junior sisters." I wonder if the 2 junior sisters agree with my arrangement. Hearing what Lin Changqing said, Zhao Mingxia and Huyana couldn't help but look at each other, and then they agreed in unison. They also understood that Lin Changqing and the other person would not accept such expensive gifts from them casually. Although the 2 of them were indeed willing, there was no way to force Lin Changqing to accept their things. To have this result now, it is much better than they expected in the morning. However, Huyana couldn't help but say, "Brother Gao, Sister Chen, the Sky Thunder Bead I gave you is not as precious as you think. Every once in a while, there will always be someone in the sect who will cross the tribulation on the crossing tribulation platform. Whether they succeed or not, they can collect some scattered thunder tribulation energy. They will ask my master or the Grand Master to refine it into Sky Thunder Beads. After a long time, our lineage naturally accumulated a lot of such things. Therefore, this Sky Thunder Bead is really not as rare and precious as you think. So when you encounter danger, don't be reluctant to use it. Use it when you need to. The most important thing is that you can come back safely. But when using it, you must pay attention to controlling the distance. The power of this thing is extremely huge. You must control the distance at least 30 feet away, otherwise, the power of the thunder tribulation will definitely affect you. You must remember it. Hearing this, Lin Changqing and Chen Ziya both nodded, which also reminded Lin Changqing. Since there is a special crossing tribulation platform in the Qingyuan sect to collect the scattered thunder tribulation energy and refine them into sky thunder beads. Other sects must have similar situations. It is definitely impossible to equip such things on a large scale. However, it is absolutely possible that a small number of monks with connections can get 1 or 2 for self-defense. Therefore, you must be extra careful in this Jiazi trial. If you can kill those opponents, you must kill them as quickly as possible. Don't let yourself capsize in the gutter. Lin Changqing nodded and said seriously, "Thank you for your reminder, junior sister Hu. We all remember it." Chen Ziya couldn't help asking at this time, "Junior sister Hu, since your lineage has such a powerful thing, then in the Jiang secret realm, could you solve the opponent who was chasing you without Brother Qing's help?" Hu Yana didn't expect Chen Ziya to ask this question suddenly, but she still explained, "We were still in the key refining stage at that time. We didn't have any mana, and we couldn't even sacrifice the Sky Thunder Pearl, so how could we use it? Besides, even if we could use it, our spiritual consciousness at that time was only 10 feet away. Wouldn't it be equivalent to dying together? So in the key refining stage, no matter what, it must not be used. Fortunately, Senior Brother Gao saved me at that time." After listening to her explanation, Chen Ziya and Zhao Mingxia realized that they had misunderstood. Hu Yana and Zhao Mingxia stayed here for a while and told them to come back safely. Knowing that Lin Changqing and the others would definitely need to prepare something, they did not stay too long and said goodbye and left, leaving time for themselves. In fact, Hu Yana and the others did not know that Lin Changqing and the others had really made full preparations. It can be said that they had been waiting for the Jiazi trial to start. Other aspects were fine, but the spiritual consciousness alone had made great progress. Since it was divided into 8 times and after taking and refining the earth soul fruit that Lin Changqing took out, Chen Ziya's spiritual consciousness directly surpassed the limit of the early stage of the construction period and reached more than 200 feet. It was only a few dozen feet away from the limit of the middle stage. Lin Changqing's spiritual consciousness was even more amazing, surpassing the limit of 250 feet in the middle stage of the construction period and reaching 350 feet. This is outstanding among the same level. In other aspects, they were also very well prepared. And since they knew the news of the Jiazi trial in Chaoying City, it has been almost 8 or 9 months. The two people have never dared to relax, and fortunately, the efforts they made have been well rewarded. Because they were leaving tomorrow, Lin Changqing decided not to do anything today and just accompany Chen Ziya to relax for a day. So the two of them had a good time touring Jian Mountain. After returning to Muangju, the two could not help but practice the Yin-Yang Harmony Sutra for a long time until Chen Ziya was full. Early the next morning, Lin Changqing and his companions met up with Mu Qingrong and the other 3 foundation-building monks from Qingxiafan. They arrived together and waited in the square of the sect. These 3 foundation-building monks, 2 men and 1 woman, were all in the middle stage of foundation building. They had met several times during this period. They knew each other and became familiar faces, but Lin Changqing did not have much friendship with them. However, these 3 were disciples of several uncles. If they were in danger, Lin Changqing and Chen Zhu would still lend a hand to help them if they could. Just as a thank you to the uncles, it was a meeting gift for them. Several people stood together, and monks came from all directions. Chapter 436 Super Traction Array. Later, gradually, it automatically turned into 3 huge circles, one for each of the key refining stage, the foundation building stage, and the purple mansion stage. Mu Qingrong also went over after seeing her familiar friends, and did not continue to stay with them. After all, she was not in the same circle as them. Although the purple mansion stage cultivators were also trying out in the same secret realm as them, they should be in different areas, so Mu Qingrong had to find a few familiar partners so that they could help each other when they met in the secret realm. Not long after, no one came over, and at this time a powerful divine sense swept over. Then a faint voice sounded in everyone's ears, "Since everyone is here, let's get ready to board the ship and set off." Then, in the sky, the figures of 5 giant and cultivators suddenly appeared, and the great-grandmother was among them. Then a giant and cultivator waved his hand in the air, and a white jade treasure ship slowly grew from small to large and landed on the sect square. The treasure ship was pure white, with 5 floors and some golden decorations on it. The whole ship looked very luxurious and beautiful. The ship was more than 200 feet long and 70 feet wide. It looked much more high-end and majestic than the great-grandmother's treasure ship. Then the giant and monk who released the treasure ship said, "All key refining disciples, go to the first floor and find an empty room to rest. The foundation establishment disciples are on the second floor, and the purple mansion disciples are on the third floor. We will probably fly for more than 10 days this time, and each disciple can only move on this floor in the deck. It is strictly forbidden to trespass in other places. If you disturb or bump into the ancestor, you will be punished to guard the Yinfeng cave for 3 years. All disciples, did you hear it clearly? If you understand, start boarding now." Then everyone began to board the ship in an orderly manner. Lin Changqing and Chen Ziya found 2 empty rooms connected together on the second floor and lived there. After a while, Lin Changqing felt that the treasure ship was rising and gradually accelerating, and knew that it was officially set off. So he went to the next room to drink tea with Chen Ziya. He had been consciously trying to spend as much time with Chen Ziya as possible during this period. After all, after this trial was over, he would be ready to set off on his own and go out to explore the world. At that time, he would have even less time to accompany her, so they had been spending more time together recently. Chen Ziya was also very smart and had understood what Lin Changqing meant. Therefore, the two of them had been even closer during this period than when they had just become Taoist couples. At this moment, the two of them were leaning against each other and talking. "Have you finished refining the heavenly thunder pearl that junior sister who sent yesterday?" Lin Changqing asked Chen Ziya while hugging her. "Not yet. I plan to take some time on the boat these 2 days to refine it." "Why do you suddenly ask this?" Lin Changqing touched the storage bag on his waist, took out the jade box containing the heavenly thunder pearl, and put it in Chen Ziya's hand. Then he continued, "I'll give you my own bead to be used for sacrifice. When the Lin family was in trouble, you saw that my grandmother also gave me a sky thunder bead. But I haven't used it yet. So it's a complete waste for me to keep the sky thunder bead here. Your fighting ability is still relatively weak, so I'll give it to you for protection. This way I'll feel more at ease. Also, although I've seen the strength of the Qingyuan sect disciples here recently, it's not a real life and death fight after all, so they should all be reserved. So when you get to the secret realm, you have to be more careful and alert, and come and join me as soon as possible, so that it's safer." Chen Ziya hesitated for a moment, but still took the jade box and said, "I know. My current fighting ability is not too weak. And anyway, there are so many treasures and spirit insects to protect me, so I can hold on until I can join you. Don't worry too much, I'm not as weak as you think." Lin Changqing was relieved to see that she was willing to listen to him. After all, he only had one life, so it was not too cautious. If he couldn't bring Chen Ziya home safely, he didn't know how to face his family, grandmother, and great-grandmother. Fortunately, Chen Ziya didn't mean to show off, so he was relieved, as long as the two could reunite smoothly. With his strength, there would be no big problem in ensuring the safety of the two. After the two of them stuck together for a morning, Lin Changqing returned to his room and began to practice normally. Time passed day by day, and in the blink of an eye, it was half a month. One day, when the two were drinking tea and chatting together, suddenly, he heard, "All disciples, get ready, we are about to arrive. Pack up your own things and get ready to get off the ship in a quarter of an hour." Fortunately, all of Lin Changqing's things were in his storage bag, so he didn't have to go back to pack them. But at this time, the two of them had a tacit understanding, and they both took out the traction jade pendant, wore it around their necks, and then covered it with clothes. Then Chen Ziya quickly packed up her things, and the two of them went to the deck together. The treasure ship was still flying fast. Now looking out, there were still endless mountains and forests outside, and it was still unclear where the secret realm was. After a while, they finally saw a huge valley, and there were already several groups of people in it, occupying different corners. At this time, the treasure ship began to slow down and landed not far from the Xian'an sect and the Xiangxing sword sect. After everyone got off the treasure ship, Lin Changqing had time to look at the valley where they were. The most eye-catching place was undoubtedly the center of the valley. There was a very huge magic array running there, and there were more than a dozen people, constantly chanting magic spells around the magic array. At this time, Chen Ziya said, "Why do I feel a little familiar? This seems to be a supertraction magic array. I seem to have seen it in the Sutra Pavilion of the sect, but I don't know what it has to do with the secret realm we are going to enter." Lin Changqing shook his head. He couldn't understand this thing, but he didn't care about this magic array at this time. These are all the concerns of the senior leaders of each sect he is interested in addition to the 5 major sects he knows. There are many sects that have never been seen before, but before coming here, they have also seen some of the general introductions of the sects participating in this Jiazi trial. Some of the cultivators have very obvious characteristics, so it is easy to match them. For example, the one carrying a huge coffin on his back is from the Yangshi sect. The one wearing all black and emitting waves of yin-qi is from the Yuga sect. All of them are young female cultivators, and their clothes are very bold and seductive, so they must be from the Maoyu sect. Chapter 437 Heavenly Ghost. The female cultivators of Maoyu sect are indeed graceful and beautiful. As a male cultivator with a Taoist partner, he can naturally understand their advantages. Therefore, Lin Changqing couldn't help but take a few more glances, but Chen Ziya was right beside him, so he didn't dare to be too blatant. He just wanted to satisfy his eyes. There was also a group of very eye-catching people, that is, the big bald heads wearing red cassocks. Needless to say, they must be Buddhist cultivators from Honglian Temple. They are too recognizable. There are more than 10 sects participating in the trial, and there are cultivators from several sects. The characteristics are not too obvious, and it is really impossible to distinguish them. However, with so many people staying in the valley, all kinds of noises are still not small. Gathered together, it became a variety of buzzing sounds, and the people of Qingyuan sect were considered to be late. There are a total of 15 sects participating in the trial. Lin Changqing counted them and found that including Qingyuan sect, 12 of them have come. There were only 3 families left to complete the handover. Suddenly, a powerful divine sense swept over, followed by a loud eagle cry, coming from far away and getting closer. Soon, a very huge golden eagle appeared in front of everyone. It was really huge, at least dozens of times the size of Chihuahua. When it flew, a huge shadow was cast on the ground, and there were many monks sitting on it. After circling for a while, the giant eagle landed near Qingyuan sect and Xiangxing sword sect, then it jumped down from it. Hundreds of monks of different cultivation levels occupied a corner and also began to look at the situation in the valley. They were all old rivals. Lin Changqing didn't pay much attention to them, but looking at the location chosen by Yuling sect, it was known that the 6 sects of Qingyuan did have a vague tendency to join forces and help each other after arriving in Zuanayan continent. But this had nothing to do with Lin Changqing, as long as they didn't come to provoke him. If someone really didn't open his eyes and wanted to die, he wouldn't care whether the 6 sects joined forces or not, he would just kill them directly. After a long while, 2 more sects disappeared. In this way, all the 15 sects participating in the trial finally arrived. At this time, there was a new change in the center of the valley. A very obvious space fluctuation was emitted above the supertraction array. Then a space crack was gradually pulled and enlarged, which was visible to the naked eye, until it was formed stably. All the monks present could see a space vortex that was constantly rotating. This space vortex exuded a kind of power that made people feel palpitating. When many people thought about jumping in from here, their scalps went numb. At this time, a cold and majestic voice resounded throughout the valley, which lifted everyone's spirits. The secret realm of the Jiazi trial has been captured and stabilized by the traction array. You only have 1 month. After this time, even if you have the mark of leaving, you will not be able to leave the secret realm, so you should manage your time well. Of course, if anyone is sure that they can survive in it for a Jiazi period, they can stay in it and give it a try. However, since the record of the Jiazi trial was kept, no cultivator has ever survived in it for a Jiazi period. You should consider it carefully. Now, according to the ranking of the last Jiazi trial, you will start to enter the secret realm. Is everyone okay with it? No, no, no. 7 or 8 consecutive voices were made by the ancestors of various sects. Suddenly, Amitabha broke the series of no voices. That cold and majestic voice sounded again. Dao Yanming. What do you mean by this? Don't you plan to abide by the previous rules? Yanming dare not. But I heard that your Yuga sect recently got a heavenly spirit ghost, and it was obtained by Daoyao Tianku. So I want to discuss with Daoyao Tianku, can you bear the pain and give up the heavenly spirit ghost in exchange for me? Tianku heard that the bald donkey of Honglian Temple was actually planning to take his newly acquired heavenly spirit ghost, which can explain a lot of problems. However, now is not the time to take action, so he still suppressed the murderous intent in his heart. He continued to say lightly, then can I also ask you Honglian Temple to give me the holy relic of the temple? Yan Ming also heard the murderous intent in Tianku's tone, but for a heavenly spirit ghost to grow up, who knows how many lives will be killed. But for the sake of merit, it is worth taking some risks, so he continued, Taoist Xianku, you are joking. Although it may take hundreds of years for a heavenly spirit ghost to appear, we can only look for it carefully. I will wait patiently and I will get it. But there is only this one holy relic in tens of thousands of years. The two are not equal at all. If Taoist Xianku is really interested in the relic, I have one in my hand, which is a relic left by the Venerable after his death. It happens to be a treasure of the same level as Taoist Xianku's heavenly spirit ghost. I can exchange it with a heavenly spirit ghost. What do you think, Taoist Xianku? Hearing this, Xianku was really a little moved, mainly because it was too difficult to make further progress at their level of cultivation. It was even more difficult to advance to the spiritualization stage. He wanted to see if he could get some different inspirations from this relic of the Venerable. But he was really reluctant to exchange it with a heavenly spirit ghost. So he had an idea and said, the Venerable's relic is still a little short. Why don't we make a bet? Upon hearing this, Yan Ming's engine of Honglian Temple was delighted. If he could make a bet, it would be possible to get the heavenly spirit ghost of Xianku here. So, he couldn't help but ask, how does fellow Taoist Xianku want to bet? But I require that the heavenly spirit ghost must be included as a stake. True Lord Xianku glanced at him deliberately, and then said lightly, of course it's a ready-made bet. Just bet on the number of disciples from our two sects who come out of this Jiazi trial, and the results they achieve in it. Every surviving disciple counts as 1 point, and advancing 1 level counts as 1 point, advancing 1 level counts as 3 points, and advancing 3 levels counts as 5 points. The final score of the two sects' disciples will determine the winner. If I win, you must give me the Venerable's relic in front of so many fellow Daoists. If you win, the heavenly spirit ghost is here, and I will present it to you with both hands. What do you think, fellow Taoist Yan Ming? Upon hearing this, Venerable Yan Ming frowned. He didn't expect Xianku to be so shameless as to plot against him so blatantly. Although they are of the same level, each cultivator of the ghost control sect has at least 3 to 5 ghost spirits of the same level to help hunt monsters and even cultivators. Chapter 438 Great Xianun Reincarnation Technique. Otherwise, the Yuga sect would not have ranked first in the Jiazi trial for 2 or 3 consecutive times. To be honest, the fighting power of the cultivators of the Red Lotus Temple is still a little worse than theirs. Yan Ming shook his head and said, although I don't want to admit it, each of your Yuga sect cultivators has several ghost spirits to help them. We disciples of the Red Lotus Temple don't have any helpers, so we are still a little worse. So this bet is 100% lost. How can I bet with you? Tianku knew that this old bald donkey Yan Ming would not be so easily hooked, so he changed his mind and decided to give him a little bit, otherwise he would definitely not dare to bet with him. So he continued, last time, the ranking difference between the two sects was about 170 to 800 points, so this time I'll just give you 200 points. You won't refuse again this time, will you? Don't the disciples of the Red Lotus Temple often shout that they want to eliminate demons and defend the Dao? Now you don't even dare to compete with the disciples of our Yuga sect, right? Then remember to stay away from the monks of our sect in the future. Although Venerable Yan Ming knew that this was just the simplest way to provoke, in order not to lose face in front of so many fellow Taoists. In addition, Xianku gave up 200 points, so he was not without a chance of winning. Moreover, even Buddhas would fight for a stick of incense, let alone him, so he made up his mind and said, okay. Just give me 200 points as you said, I'll bet with you. Xianku saw that he finally took the bait, and no longer concealed it, and couldn't help laughing. At their stage, they basically wouldn't regret what they said. Especially in front of so many fellow Taoists of the same level, if it wasn't related to their lives, no one would dare to break their promises easily. At their level, the higher the level of cultivation, the smaller the circle. If you leave others with the impression that you have no credibility, then there may not be many people who dare to trade with you in the future. It will be more difficult to make further progress. Suddenly, he had another idea. Anyway, it's better to recruit more people to join the gambling game, so that he can make more money. So he opened his mouth and said to everyone, "Is there any fellow Taoist who wants to join our gambling? Not only can I tame this heavenly spirit ghost and train it into a helper in the nascent soul stage, but it is also elusive and difficult to destroy. You can even train it into an incarnation outside of your body. Just think about it, it can be real or virtual, and come and go without a trace. Don't you want to join the gambling? As long as you can take out a treasure that I like, you can join the gambling, and you might really win it. And you can also do the same as fellow Taoist Yan Ming and subtract the difference in the last ranking between our two sects, then everyone will be competing fairly." After being fooled by Xiangku's Henjin of the Yuga sect, several ancestors of the sects were really persuaded by him. So the Hanxing patriarch of the Xiangxing sword sect was the first to speak up. "Count me in, I have a good thing here that can also be used as an external incarnation." After saying that, he took out a huge stone from his storage bracelet. At this time, more than a dozen Yuanying cultivators directly scanned it with their spiritual sense. Many people couldn't help but exclaim, "Huh?" The more knowledgeable Yuanying cultivators had already recognized what this thing was. They all sighed that the Hanxing patriarch was wasting the natural gift, and the Hanxing patriarch himself could probably guess what everyone was thinking. So he couldn't help but explain, "I didn't dig this thing out. I'm not that short-sighted. This was found by chance by my disciple when he was out exploring. He didn't know much, so he just dug out this natural stone fetus. Fortunately, he still had a little brain and knew to dig it bigger, so fortunately, he didn't damage anything inside. And as long as this thing is placed in the earth's spiritual milk to continue soaking, or placed in a place with abundant spiritual energy, let it continue to grow. After another 700 or 800 years, it will be able to break out of the shell. At that time, whether it is accepted as a disciple, or erased a mind and refined into your own incarnation, it will be a very good choice. So this thing of mine should be able to enter the eyes of the two Taoists." Xiangku's Henjin and Yan Mingzun couldn't help but nodded after hearing this. Except that it will take a little longer to wait for the stone fetus to be born, and there may be some congenital deficiencies. There are no other problems, enough to join their gambling. Tianku's Henjin said calmly, "The things are enough, welcome to join us, fellow Taoist Hanxing. Is there anyone else who wants to join?" At this time, the old ancestor Kanshi of the Yangshi sect also said, "Count me in too. I have a section of soul-nourishing wood that is 1 foot long and the width of a thumb. It is enough to be cut into 10 pieces and refined into soul-nourishing tablets, or even directly refined into a soul-suppressing ruler. Treasures that can continue to nourish the soul in the nascent soul stage are very rare. Isn't this a good thing? I wonder if it can catch the eyes of fellow Taoists." Needless to say, it takes at least tens of thousands of years for a soul-nourishing wood to grow to a foot long, because of the special nature of the soul-nourishing treasure. It is much more precious than an ordinary 5th level treasure, and it is considered a special treasure between the 5th and 6th levels. This thing was originally the treasure of the old ancestor Kanshi, and he had no intention of taking it out, but he really needed the stone fetus. Although he has the cultivation of the nascent soul stage, there is no way forward, and he is just waiting to die. Fortunately, by chance, he got a very precious secret technique, the Great Cheyenne Reincarnation Technique. This secret technique is specially used to perfectly seize the body. This secret technique of the favorite of heaven and earth, once cast successfully, you can cut off the causal connection with everything in the past and start practicing again. And because he is the favorite of heaven and earth, the qualifications are extraordinary. In addition to his own thousands of years of life experience, he is confident that he can restore his current cultivation in hundreds or thousands of years. And he is very confident that he can ascend to the upper realm after refining to the late stage of transformation. So this stone fetus, he is now determined to get it. He has even made a secret decision in his heart that he must get this treasure, even if he has to do whatever it takes. He must get the thing in his hands. That's why he took out the soul-nourishing wood that he used to regard as his lifeblood as a bet. And because of the temptation of these things, basically all the Yuanying ancestors present joined this increasingly big gamble. And the later it was, the more precious the things he took out, basically all the treasures of the ancestors at the bottom of the box. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 439 Space Barrier. Because the treasures that others bring out may be what you have been looking for a long time, but have not found. Now that you finally see it, you must not miss it. Therefore, the emergence of a gambling game has changed the taste of the entire Jiazi trial. Lin Changqing has already felt that the scene exudes a very obvious oppressive atmosphere. None of the cultivators here are fools. They know that this Jiazi trial is definitely different from the previous ones. After reading the records given to them by the sect, you will know that there may be people from the 3rd or 4th level in the past, but this time it is estimated that 1 or 2 levels will be good. This made Lin Changqing worried, and he couldn't help but squeeze Chen Ziya's hand, signaling her to be careful later. At this time, the 15 sect ancestors who led the team to participate in the Jiazi trial all participated in this gambling game. After everyone had taken out the bets that everyone agreed on, Xiangku's Henjin finally concluded, okay. Since everyone has participated, let's make a deal first. We will calculate the scores according to the method I just mentioned and rank all the sects present. At that time, the one ranked first will have the priority to choose 5 treasures from these bets, and the one ranked second will choose 4 treasures from the remaining bets. And so on. The one ranked third will choose 3 treasures, the one ranked fourth will choose 2 treasures, and the one ranked fifth will have no choice, and the remaining treasure will belong to him. After the 5th place, there is nothing. How much you can gain depends on your own methods. Do you have any other opinions, fellow Taoists? Kanchi's Henjin was the first to choose Chengdao, that's it. Fellow Taoist Xiangku's arrangement is quite reasonable, I have no objection. Venerable Yanming thought about it, but couldn't think of anything wrong, so he also said, Amitabha, I have no objection, let's do it according to the method. Fellow Taoist Xiangku said, agree. No objection, agree. No objection, I agree. No objection. All the ancestors of the sect spoke up one after another to express their agreement and no objection, including the ancestor of Qingyuan sect, Liang's Henjin. At this time, all the Qingyuan sect disciples who participated in the trial heard a familiar voice. All disciples listened to the order. The Liang master has an order. In this Jiazi trial, everyone must go all out. If you can kill disciples from other sects, you can leave your identity jade card as a certificate. The sect will give 2,000 sect contribution points as a reward for jade cards of the same level, and 5,000 contribution points as a reward for high-level jade cards. For every 10 identity jade cards of disciples from other sects, you can go to the sect treasury and choose any treasure, with no limit on the number, as long as you have enough jade cards. Finally, if anyone can take out 100 identity jade cards of disciples from other sects, in addition to the above rewards, the Liang master will also accept him as a registered disciple. If anyone can take out 500 identity jade cards, the Liang master can directly accept him as an entry-level disciple. And, the most important point, all disciples must be cautious and try to come out alive. Lin Changqing and Chen Ziya looked at each other and saw the worry in each other's eyes. He knew it would be like this. It is estimated that the high-level officials of other sects, under the instruction of their ancestors, will certainly issue similar orders. At that time, the competition in the secret realm will definitely be more exciting, and there will definitely be continuous killing. At this time, Lin Changqing felt that someone from the Xian'an sect next to him had been staring at him. Turning around, it was Mu Jiu'an and Liu Yoling, and the two were very happy to see that Lin Changqing finally paid attention to them. Nodding at him, Mu Jiu'an threw a storage bag to him. Fortunately, they were standing at the outer edge. The storage bag was smoothly received by him. Mu Jiu'an had erased the divine sense on the storage bag, so he only needed to sacrifice it a little and he could see what was inside. There was only one thing in it, a phoenix tail homophonic conch. Although he did not take it out to check, after a glance, he knew that it was a 3rd-level homophonic conch. It can transmit sound within 10,000 miles, but Lin Changqing knew that this secret realm was very wide and could fall within 10,000 miles. It takes a lot of luck. Even if he and Chen Ziya have the Qianji jade pendant in their hands, he would be thankful that the two of them could fall within a few thousand miles. He nodded to them, indicating that he understood what they meant. After all, she was his sister-in-law. If he could meet her, he would lend a hand. If Lin Changqing was asked to find her specifically, it would definitely be impossible. It would be better to take care of himself and Chen Ziya first. At this time, Xiangku's Henjin spoke again. Since all the Taoist friends have already explained the disciples, let's not waste time. Last time, our Yuga sect ranked first. This time, we will not be polite and go first. As soon as he finished speaking, the monks of Yuga sect rushed into the space vortex in the center of the valley. Being attacked by the monks of Yuga sect, everyone was anxious and didn't care about the order. At the signal of the sect leaders, everyone rushed into the space vortex. Lin Changqing was the most experienced in this kind of thing. 2 magic talismans were pasted on their legs early in the morning, and they were considered to be the monks who approached the space vortex relatively early. Before entering the space vortex, they activated the traction jade pendant, which formed a wonderful traction between the 2 people. Then the 2 rushed into the space vortex together and disappeared. Soon, the 10,000 monks who participated in the trial entered the vortex and disappeared. The whole valley suddenly became empty, leaving only the super traction array in the center of the valley, and more than a dozen monks from various sects who maintained the operation of the array. After a strong discomfort, Lin Changqing regained his perception, resisted the urge to vomit, and after a few dry coughs, he barely adjusted himself. He knew that he must have rolled in the space vortex for countless times before he felt like vomiting. Fortunately, he was finally fine now. He quickly released Chu-ai from the spirit beast bracelet and let it guard the surroundings. As for Chuer, he didn't dare to release him. Lin Changqing must be in an area full of second-level monsters. With the strength of the late first stage of the second grade, it is too dangerous to release it now, so let it rest in the spirit beast bracelet. Then he tried to summon Lin Changqiu, but failed. And then he came to his heart. According to Lin Changqing's understanding, the information fed back by Lin Changqiu was that it could not directly tear the space barrier and appear beside Lin Changqing. Chapter 440, Soul Flame. Otherwise, it will be teleported away by the powerful array power. However, if Lin Changqing needs it, its roots can still penetrate in. However, the roots that come in may be damaged to a certain extent, so if it is not necessary for Lin Changqing, try not to do so. However, there is also good news, that is, the inner space has not been affected and can still be used normally. Lin Changqing knew that it was impossible to leave such a big loophole for him to drill. If Lin Changqiu could be summoned in by him, then he would be completely invincible, but there is really no such good thing. He just held a fluke mentality. Now that he knows it is impossible, he will honestly give up. Otherwise, if he forcibly summons Lin Changqiu, it is possible that even he himself will be teleported to the third level area. That would be fatal, so it is better not to try it easily. Staying in the second level area honestly is the most suitable place for him. At this time, Chu-ai has sent 2 warnings, but it is still far away from him, and he doesn't want to pay attention to them for the time being. Directly injecting mana into the traction jade pendant, a wonderful induction emerged in Lin Changqing's heart. Let him know immediately that Chen Ziya was about 8,000 miles away from him in the southeast direction. This result was neither good nor bad. Within 10,000 miles, it was just within the sound transmission range of the third-level Phoenix Tail homophonic conch. Fortunately, this distance was very close compared to the range of 8 million miles. He took out the third-level homophonic conch from his storage bag and sent a message to Chen Ziya. He sent a message that he had landed safely and the 2 were about 8,000 miles away. Now he was heading southeast to meet her. However, after a while, there was no response. Lin Changqing knew that Chen Ziya must be in trouble now. However, he was out of reach now and could only hope that she could solve the trouble smoothly. Then Lin Changqing forced himself to calm down, because it was useless to worry now, and then he flew directly. He moved very fast in the direction where Chen Ziya was. It happened that one of the 2 early warnings just now was in the direction he was heading. The distance of 8 or 9 miles was soon reached. Lin Changqing saw 7 or 8 iron-backed boars, including 2 large boars in the middle stage of the second stage, with 6 small boars in the middle stage of the first stage. While foraging in a bush, Lin Changqing thought for a moment and decided that he couldn't let it go, but he didn't want to waste too much time here. So he decided to make a quick decision. With a thought, 12 second-level purple crystal scorpions flew out of the spirit beast bracelet, forming 12 purple rays of light, and rushed straight to the iron-backed boar 400 or 500 feet away. When they were close to more than 200 feet, the iron-backed boar had already discovered them, and the sow let out a sharp pig cry. She wanted to summon the 6 little boars behind her to protect them, but the purple crystal scorpion didn't give them too much time to react. After the 12 purple rays of light, the 2 big iron-backed boars and a small boar that was affected were shot into sieves. After a few extremely sharp pig calls, the remaining 5 little boars fled in all directions. Lin Changqing was not interested in chasing them, because there was nothing to gain from killing them. So he simply ignored them and unlocked the shielding on his hearing. He went forward and used the flying sword of the top-grade spiritual weapon to cut open the stomachs of the 2 second-level iron-backed mountain boars. He found 2 second-level medium-quality demon pills in sight and put them in a jade box. After affixing the spirit-sealing talisman, he put them in the storage bag. He did not waste the remaining 2 large and 1 small iron-backed mountain boar bodies. He put them all in a special storage bag for storing demon beast meat, ready to use as food for his spirit beasts. Then he did not waste any time and continued on his way. As for the 12 purple crystal scorpions, he did not put them back into the spirit beast bracelet. Instead, they stayed on his shoulders and back, but they were all in a state of invisibility, so others could not see them. He flew for dozens of miles and received a warning from Chuai again. However, judging from the meaning conveyed by Chuai, this time it was not a demon beast. However, Lin Changqing just wanted to hurry up and get to Chenzilaya, so he did not plan to take a detour, and he did not think that there was anything that could stop him. So, he rushed over without hesitation until he saw a monk wearing a black robe. Only then did he realize that he had met someone from the Yuga sect, and that he was a cultivator in the late stage of the foundation building period. After thinking for a while, he still didn't want to take the initiative to cause trouble. So he said directly, "This fellow Taoist from the Yuga sect. I'm in a hurry for something, and now we have just entered the secret realm, and no one has gained anything. How about we not interfere with each other and go our separate ways?" Taoist, the cultivator from the Yuga sect, saw that the person who came was a cultivator in the early stage of the foundation building period, and thought that it would be a piece of cake to capture him. So after laughing a few times, he smiled sinisterly and said, "You little bastard really overestimates your own abilities. Leave your life behind." After saying that, he waved his hand, and 5 black, rolling yin energy balls rushed straight to Lin Changqing's face. When they were halfway through the flight, they turned into 5 clear ghost faces. And each of them sent a ghost howl towards Lin Changqing, trying to shock Lin Changqing's soul, and then enter his sea of consciousness and devour his soul. However, what Lin Changqing was least afraid of was the monks of the Yuga sect. He had the Yushin soul shield in his sea of consciousness, and the 5 ghost howls had no effect on him at all. With a thought, 3 layers of thunder shields surrounded him, and then 12 purple rays flew out from his body, also rushing straight at the monks of the Yuga sect. Then 12 purple rays of light shot out, breaking through the 7 layers of yin ki shield of the Yuga sect monks. With a scream that was extremely sharp, the Yuga sect monks were shot into sieve by the purple crystal scorpion. The 5 spirit ghosts that were about to fly in front of Lin Changqing also let out 5 shrill screams, and their spiritual light was greatly damaged, and their breath began to drop rapidly. At this time, Lin Changqing's mind moved, and 5 lightning golden needles flew out, piercing the 5 spirit ghosts, and after a scream, they disappeared without a trace. 5 black crystals fell on the ground. Lin Changqing saw that the soul crystals had all come out, and he knew that they must have been shattered. In fact, even if he stood still, he would be fine. After the death of the ghost-controlling sect monk, these ghosts could not hold out for long. Moreover, he had 3 layers of thunder shields on his body, which were also enough to smother them. He just didn't want to be close to those filthy things. It was also the luck of the ghost-controlling sect monk that he encountered a big pervert like Lin Changqing, and he was also a thunder attribute, which naturally restrained all kinds of yin attribute spiritual energy. Chapter 441, Second Level Spiritual Peach Forest. If it was a cultivator from another sect, it would be good that he could protect himself when he met him. Otherwise, the cultivator of the Yuga sect would not have ranked first in the scores for 2 or 3 consecutive Jiazi trials. He thought again and asked 3 purple crystal scorpions to shoot 3 more purple light rays at the head of the Yuga sect cultivator. After confirming that he was completely dead, Lin Changqing went over and took down all the useful things on him, and then used several fireballs to deal with the body. He used his spiritual sense to search carefully twice to confirm that there was nothing missing around, and nothing could track him. Only then did he summon the 12 purple crystal scorpions back and continue on his way. He had to travel at least 1,000 miles every day to ensure that he could meet up with Chen Ziya in about 4 days. Of course, it was not just about traveling. If he encountered a suitable second-level monster, he would also stop to hunt for their monster pills. On the other side, Chen Ziya had just landed and finally adjusted herself. She found that she should have landed on a hillside, and it was not far in front of her. There was a large area of spiritual fruit trees. She couldn't help but be curious and went up to take a closer look. There were indeed a lot of spiritual peach trees, and many spiritual fruits had grown on them. After sensing them, they were basically second-level spiritual peach trees. Needless to say, there must be second-level spiritual fruits on them, which made her very excited. However, perhaps because Chen Ziya was too close, she immediately attracted the attention of several second-level demon monkeys in the peach forest, and they immediately shouted and rushed towards her. In addition, they were waving those kind of wooden sticks that were 12 or 13 feet long in their hands and rushed towards her. Chen Ziya was also inexperienced and had never thought that a large area of peach forests could continuously produce precious second-level spiritual fruits. It must have an owner, so you can't get close to it without being prepared. However, fortunately, she has also received training from Lin Changqing during this period. Finally, his efforts were not in vain. Her ability to react on the spot has also improved a lot. She immediately slapped the spiritual beast bag on her waist and released 36 second-level purple crystal scorpions. Then he gave them the order to attack. The 5 second-level demon monkeys had no time to get close before they were beaten into sieves by 36 purple rays. But before they died, they all let out very sharp screams, which basically spread throughout the entire peach forest. Chen Ziya had no experience in this regard. She was frightened by such a shrill scream. But the next moment, she knew that something was wrong, because the whole peach forest was boiling, with endless monkey calls, as if there were hundreds of demon monkeys in it. She was so scared that she wanted to fly away immediately, but when she saw the corpses of the 5 second-level demon monkeys on the ground, she was a little reluctant. So she took the risk and rushed over, and put the corpses of the 5 demon monkeys into the storage bag at the fastest speed. But at this time, 50 or 60 second-level demon monkeys had already rushed out of the peach forest, and there were several second-level late-stage great perfections. And the aura on their bodies was very strong. The remaining ones were all at the middle and late stage of the second order, and before they approached, they had already thrown stones the size of many human heads at Chen Ziya. She was so scared that she screamed, and she didn't care about that. She immediately flew away on her sword and summoned the purple crystal scorpion she had released. But although the second-order monkeys behind her couldn't fly, they moved very fast on the ground. They followed Chen Ziya all the time, and along the way, as long as they picked up a suitable stone, they would throw it at her. He could only flee desperately and use his spiritual sense to avoid being hit by the stone. In this way, both sides rushed out with all their strength, one fleeing and the other chasing, and ran for nearly 100 miles. The demon monkeys behind gave up and returned to the peach forest, and Chen Ziya finally breathed a sigh of relief and found a more secluded place. She used the array plate to set up a second-order breathing array, and then went into rest. At this time, with the protection of the array, she relaxed a little. Thinking of the movement in the storage bag just now, she hurriedly took out the third-order homophonic conch. After hearing the voice transmission from Lin Changqing, Chen Ziya also confirmed the direction with a jade pendant, and then she realized that she had just run around. She actually ran more than 100 miles in the opposite direction, and now she was getting farther and farther away from Lin Changqing. If she wanted to meet up with Lin Changqing, she would have to pass through the peach forest again, and then she would provoke a large group of second-level demon monkeys. Chen Ziya really didn't want to face them again, because there were more than just those demon monkeys in the peach forest that had just chased her out. The sounds she had just heard were very many and mixed, and it was estimated that there were at least 200 or 300 demon monkeys of various levels in the entire peach forest. Anyway, she didn't want to provoke them again. So, after thinking about it, she decided to take a detour. After making up her mind, she used the conch shell to report her safety to Lin Changqing. She also told Lin Changqing about the situation she encountered after landing, and explained why she didn't reply in time just now. After Lin Changqing knew her situation, he agreed that she should not provoke those demon monkeys again, and emphasized that she should not try to get the second-level spiritual fruits in the peach forest. He also told her not to put the purple crystal scorpion back into the spirit beast bag, but to stay outside in stealth, so as not to encounter any unexpected situation and not be able to react in time. And if you meet a suitable target, you can take action appropriately, but if there are too many, you must avoid it. It is best to control the number of targets within 7 or 8. Of course, the most important thing is that the two of them should meet up early. After finishing the call with Lin Changqing, Chen Ziyi released the 5 demon monkey corpses that she had just risked to put into the storage bag. She used the flying sword spirit to cut open their stomachs and found a total of 4 second-level early stage and 1 second-level middle stage demon pills, which were all stored in a jade box. Afterwards, the remaining demon beast meat was not wasted, and it was all collected in a special storage bag, and then left as food for the 2 spirit beasts. In fact, Chen Ziyi was lucky. If the place where she landed just now was in the peach forest, she might not be able to get out. So after she figured it out, she was really thankful. It was estimated that there should be many cultivators like her who came in this time. As soon as she landed, she was next to the monster's lair. She just didn't know how many people could escape like her. After resting in the formation for a while, and waiting for the mana in her body to recover, she didn't dare to delay too much time, so she took back the formation disc and started on her way. It was definitely not feasible to return by the original route, so she could only choose to take a detour, which would increase the distance by more than 200 miles. Chapter 442, Red Armored Swift Lion Family. But Chen Ziyi didn't have a spirit beast like Chu Ai to provide early warning, so after flying for more than 2 hours, suddenly, 7 spirit weapon flying swords rushed out from the woods below and rushed straight towards Chen Ziyi. The speed was very fast. Fortunately, they were more than 100 feet away, which gave her a little time to react. Moreover, when she was fighting just now, she had been sticking several defensive spirit talismans on her body, and she activated them immediately with a thought. The 36 purple crystal scorpions on her body also turned into purple lights and flew out. At this time, she knew that she only needed to protect herself, so she activated the top-grade defensive spirit weapon on her hand and covered herself in it. At this time, the flying sword was already approaching, and with a series of ding-ding sounds, the flying sword pierced the defensive spirit weapon, hitting Chen Ziyi and almost falling from mid-air. Fortunately, when she was sparring with Lin Changqing, she encountered this situation, and she also understood what kind of coping method should be adopted. So she remained calm in the face of danger and lowered the altitude, but did not land directly. She stood steadily on the flying sword and maintained a certain altitude. She used the woods as cover and kept shuttling back and forth, trying to ensure that she would not be easily attacked again. Soon, she heard a male monk's exclamation, and then a sharp and extremely shrill scream. Then there was a series of sounds of flying swords falling to the ground. Chen Ziyi immediately knew that the monk who attacked by surprise should have been dealt with by the purple crystal scorpion. So she turned around and put away the 7 spiritual flying swords on the ground, and the purple crystal scorpions had already returned to her side. But she still had to go and find the place where the monk fell, at least to collect her spoils. She also knew the approximate location, so after a while, she found the body of the monk, and took a look and found that it was a monk from the Xiangxing sword sect. Although the 6 sects of Qingyang had a tendency to join forces, she didn't think it was strange to be attacked by disciples of the 6 sects here. In this secret realm, there was nothing that could bind these monks, and the only person she could trust was Lin Changqing. Even if she met the other 3 monks from Changsha Peak who were participating in the trial, she would not dare to trust them, let alone let down her guard. Standing a few dozen feet away from the corpse, she used her flying sword to stab the monk's head again. After confirming that he was really dead, she began to collect the spoils with confidence. After scanning several times with her spiritual sense and finding nothing missing, she handled the scene in accordance with Lin Changqing's emphasis on destroying the corpse and not leaking her own information. After communicating with Lin Changqing again, she put on the hidden spirit mask he had given her before according to his wishes, and then continued on her way. After killing the monk from the Yuga sect, Lin Changqing did not dare to delay and continued to rush in the direction of Chen Ziyi. Although he said he didn't think too much, he was still secretly anxious in his heart. Fortunately, not long after, he finally received a message from Chen Ziyi. She explained the situation she encountered, and now that she was out of danger, she had time to contact him. The worst-case scenario that had always appeared in his mind did not happen, so he was relieved. Only then did he have the leisure to think about other things. Then he took out another homophonic conch, which was given to him by Mount Jiufeng. After he injected his magic power, he found that there was no sound of waves. He knew that the other homophonic conch was not within 10,000 miles, and he didn't know how far away it was. In this way, Mount Jiufeng could only rely on himself. After collecting the homophonic conch, Lin Changqing began to continue on his way. In fact, there were not only monsters in this secret realm. There must be other resources to support the cultivation of these monsters, otherwise how could so many second-level monsters maintain and survive? Just like the second-level peach forest mentioned by Chen Ziyi just now, he actually wanted it very much. If he couldn't get a whole spiritual peach tree, it would be good to get some thicker roots. But he still didn't dare to let Chen Ziyi take risks. He himself was not sure to deal with 50 or 60 second-level mid to late-stage demon monkeys. Not to mention Chen Ziyi. So he would rather give up than let her take risks beyond her ability. At this time, Lin Changqing received another early warning from Chui, but it was not directed at him. It told him that someone was fighting in front. Lin Changqing thought about it and decided to go and see. If they were robbing some spiritual objects, he would be ready to reap the benefits. If it was just a fight, he would not care so much and just keep on going. So he made a thought and asked Chui to fly higher so as not to be detected by others. Then he put on the hidden spirit mask and the magic veil, and slowly approached the place where the magic power was constantly emitting. After spending some time to find it, he found that it was the disciples of the corpse-raising sect and the Red Lotus Temple who were fighting. The monks of the corpse-raising sect, with their human corpses, attacked the Buddhist monks of the Red Lotus Temple. The Buddhist monks of the Red Lotus Temple had a particularly strong defense. Although they were at a disadvantage, they would not be defeated for a while. After watching for a while, Lin Changqing was not very interested. The two noobs were pecking at each other, which was just a waste of his time. He looked around again, but did not find any other spiritual objects that Lin Changqing liked. He knew that they were just fighting in vain, so he had no interest and continued to play house with them here. So he quietly left the scene and continued to rush southeast. The two people who were still fighting did not know that they had already walked around the gates of hell. Lin Changqing flew forward for another 2 or 3 hours until Chui received news that there was a group of monsters ahead. Since Chen Ziyi was not in any great danger now, he did not need to rush so much. If he met a suitable monster, he would still have to hunt it. He lowered the flying sword and approached from the ground. After observing it, he found that it was a family of red-armored swift lions. One of the male lions was in the late second stage of the Great Perfection, and the other 4 female lions were in the middle and late stages of the second stage. The remaining 5 or 6 little lions should be their cubs, all of whom were in the early and middle stages of the first stage. Lin Changqing thought about it and decided to take action. However, only 12 purple crystal scorpions were still too few, so Lin Changqing simply released the remaining 24. Then he did not approach again. With a thought, 36 purple lights rushed straight towards the lions. As soon as the amethyst scorpion started to attack, the male lion discovered them and roared, alerting all the members of the lion group. He opened his mouth and spit out a series of wind blades to attack the amethyst scorpion, but unfortunately the amethyst scorpion was small in size and very fast, and all the attacks missed after a slight dodge. Chapter 443 Sacrifice Array. By the time the lionesses reacted, the purple rays had already been shot at them. After a burst of shrill screams, 5 second-level monsters fell to the ground and died, and the remaining lion cubs immediately fled in all directions. Lin Changqing thought about it and let them live, because 2 of them should have been born not long ago. They were barely in the early stage of the first level, and they could be captured and cultivated as spiritual pets, but to be honest, Lin Changqing didn't like it now. If he took them back to the inner space to give them to Su Miniang and Zhao Liu, he was afraid that the resources consumed for cultivation would be too large. So he thought about it and simply gave up and let them fend for themselves. When there was a more suitable one in the future, he would consider leaving it to them. The flying sword above was used to finish off all the second-level monsters, and then the belly was cut open to find the demon pill, and the rest were directly packed up. He planned to deal with it when he rested at night. The most important thing now was not to delay too much time and continue on the road. In fact, he had also considered getting Lu Yaoqiang and Lu Yaoguang out and letting them use the wind escape technique to take him on the road, which would also save his mana. But after thinking about it, he decided to forget it. There was no need to be so high profile, and the situation was not so urgent. After a brief wandering around and not finding any traces of spiritual creatures, he left the territory of the red-armored swift lion family. This secret realm is mainly composed of mountains and hills, so sometimes, finding spiritual creatures also requires some luck. But Lin Changqing didn't have so much time to waste here, so he had to give up and continue to head southeast. Another 2 or 3 hours passed, and Lin Changqing hunted again along the way. After 3 second-level monsters, it was already dark. He quickly found a more secluded place, set up the small 5-element maze formation, and then released all the first and second-level purple crystal scorpions. He arranged a 3-layer 3-dimensional defense, summoned Chui down, fed him monster meat and the soul-raising pill, and sent him back to the soul bracelet to rest. It is needed during the day, and it is also tiring to fly in the sky for a long time, so it must be rested at night. Then all the second-level monster corpses hunted today were released, and bloodletting, skinning and tendon extraction were started, and all the usable spiritual materials on them were separated. The tendons, bones and skins of second-level monsters are all materials that can be used to refine spiritual tools. Whether they are used to exchange for spiritual stones or to give to Huyana for training, they are all very good choices. Moreover, the harvest today is not bad. I didn't specifically look for second-level monsters to hunt, but I got 10 second-level monster pills. As long as I encounter that kind of sacrificial array. Sacrificing these 10 monster pills can be exchanged for the escape mark, which can be regarded as completing the first task in preparing the retreat. How far you can go in the secret realm depends on your own skills and means. After finishing the work of separating the monster spiritual materials and putting away the things in different categories, Lin Changqing took out the spoils of killing the Yuga sect monks today. 3 storage bags and some odds and ends. These bits and pieces were found on the monk. To be honest, he didn't see any use for them, but he took them anyway. It didn't take too much time to refine the 3 storage bags, and they were quickly and successfully refined. The 3 storage bags were classified into different categories, and there were 5 monsters in one of them. Lin Changqing recognized them as ground armor rhinoceros. Moreover, the 2 big and 3 small ones should be a family. Obviously, it should be the first nest of monsters hunted by the monk of the Yuga sect after entering the secret realm. However, Lin Changqing did not find any wounds on them. Only 2 wounds were found on the abdomens of the 2 second-level ground armor rhinoceros where the demon pills were taken. The others were very complete. It is worth mentioning that all the monsters felt a little shriveled. After Lin Changqing checked, he found that all the blood in their bodies had disappeared, and he was wondering in his heart. After those few spirit ghosts devoured the souls of the monsters, did they also let go of their blood and devour them together? Although he didn't know much about the methods of the Yuga sect, he still felt terrified by this strange method. He spent some time to skin and remove the 5 ground rhinoceroses, 2 large and 3 small. Then he put them away in different categories, and then looked at the second storage bag. This storage bag was incomprehensible. It was full of bottles and jars. After Lin Changqing took out a few and opened them, he found that many of them were unknown blood. He felt cold in his heart and couldn't help wondering if these things were specially used to feed spirit ghosts. He felt very uncomfortable, so he put them all back as they were. The last storage bag was more normal. They were all common things for cultivators. Lin Changqing poured out all the things inside. Obviously, this should have been sorted. There was not a single low-grade spirit stone, but there were about 300 medium-grade spirit stones. There were more than a dozen bottles of elixirs, which were mainly used to restore mana, heal wounds, and detoxify. There were several bottles of each, but there was only 1 bottle of elixir for cultivation. The spiritual tools were also very simple, with a total of 7, of which 4 were defensive spiritual tools. 1 was of medium quality, 2 were of high quality, and 1 was of top quality. However, one of the high-quality defensive spiritual tools had been destroyed by the purple light. The remaining 3 were offensive spiritual tools, 2 flying swords, 1 of high quality and 1 of top quality, but Lin Changqing didn't care much about them. What he was most concerned about was a top-quality spiritual tool in the shape of a pagoda. At first, he thought it was used to trap people. Unexpectedly, after studying it, he found that it was actually used to hold those spirit ghosts, and there were several small spaces filled with yin energy inside. After understanding the function of the pagoda, Lin Changqing's interest in it greatly decreased, mainly because he could not use it at all. He resisted from the bottom of his heart. These evil things, such as corpse raising and ghost controlling, were not what he liked. He felt that they were very dirty. 5 of the 7 spiritual tools he obtained had the mark of the ghost control sect. So Lin Changqing planned to sort them out before leaving the secret realm. Gather all the things with the marks of the various sects and destroy them together, leaving no hidden dangers for himself. Of course, the identity jade cards are an exception, and some will be left for Chen Zhiyi to report back. He himself does not need them, because he is not a disciple of Qingyuan sect and has no way to exchange them for sect contribution points. Chapter 444 Soul Card Life Lamp. So I'll leave some for Chen Zhiyi to deal with this sect, but I'm sure there won't be too much, lest she performs too well. If she is noticed by some ancestor and accepted as a disciple, that will be troublesome. The next thing is the uniform specifications, 20 jade boxes. Lin Changqing opened them one by one, and found that they were basically empty. Only in a jade box with a sealing talisman, he found 2 demon pills, which were very fresh, and realized that they should be the demon pills of the 2 second-level Earth Armor Rhinos. With a thought in his mind, he put these 2 demon pills together with the demon pills he harvested today, but put them all in different jade boxes according to the early, middle and late stages, so that they can be used later. The remaining thing is a black identity jade card, but it is full of cracks, proving that the owner of the jade card has died. There are also some daily necessities, clothes and other sundries, but there are no secret manuals or secret techniques. The 2 jade slips found did not have what Lin Changqing wanted, and one of them recorded. This Yuga sect cultivator named Liu Shengfu, from entering the sect to preparing to participate in the Jiazi trial, all the experiences, big and small, are somewhat similar to biography. Lin Changqing decided that when he had time, he could take it out and read it, just to relieve boredom and pastime, and by the way, understand from the side what kind of sect Yuga sect is. The other jade slip was specially given to those cultivators participating in the Jiazi trial by Yuga sect. It was all some information collected in the past, and the content was similar to the one given by Lin Changqing's great-grandmother in his storage bag. So, after roughly browsing it, he put it away. This thing is not as interesting as the biography just now. After talking about all the things in different categories, he used the 3rd-level homophonic kite to communicate with Chen Zhiyi. After confirming that everything was normal on her side and there was no danger, Lin Changqing was relieved and told her that she could let the purple crystal scorpion keep watch for her before ending the call. After leaving the maze formation, he patrolled around the station and confirmed that there were no traces of other cultivators. Then he returned to the formation and entered the inner space directly. This time, he came in mainly to take Liu Yaoqiang and Liu Yaoguang into the Spirit Beast bracelet and take them out. You don't have to use them, but you can't go into the inner space to find them when you want to use them. After all, the secret realm is changing rapidly. No one knows when they will be needed, so it is better to prepare them first. As for delaying the birth and cultivation of spiritual medicines and spiritual plants in the inner space, there is no way, there must be some trade-offs. As soon as I entered, I felt that the inner space had expanded a lot, and there was a feeling of huge emptiness. Lin Changqing deliberately flew a big circle with his sword, really a big circle. The last time I came in the inner space, there were more than 30,000 acres of spiritual land. Now he feels that it has at least doubled, and it may be more than that. Because now in the inner space, the contrast is too obvious, only the middle part is green. The remaining land was all pitch black, without any green at all, proving that the current land utilization rate in the inner space was too low. This made him more eager to get some more monks to come in and farm for him. He flew around and announced that he was back. He returned to the yard. After a while, all the deer came running over. The 4 second-level deer that could use wind escape techniques were the fastest. After they all arrived, Lin Changqing fed them the soul-nurturing pill and the second-level 3-color deer each a red fruit. Then he communicated with Liu Yaoqiang and Liu Yaoguang through the contract. He said that they might need their help to hurry on the road, and after communicating the general situation with them, they got their support. The main reason was that Lin Changqing promised too much, and they couldn't refuse. Besides, Liu Yaoqiang had experienced similar experiences before. So after a little communication with them, they easily agreed and asked them to go and say goodbye to their families first, so that they would not suddenly disappear and the remaining deer would worry. When Lin Changqing leaves, he will put them into the spirit bracelet and take them out of the inner space. After they all leave, only Liu Xiaomin, who has just advanced, is left. It has been trying to get into Lin Changqing's arms, and he picked it up. Now its size has become much bigger, but it is still so smart and cute. It has reached the middle stage of the first stage and can help share some of the work of promoting the birth of spirit plants. It also relieves the work pressure of Lu Yaoqiang and others after being taken out of the inner space. After playing with it for a while, he let it go. Lin Changqing called Su Miniang and Zhao Liu, who were waiting on the side, over, and after they greeted each other, he asked directly, "The inner space has expanded a lot. Have you measured the land area of the inner space after the addition?" Su Miniang nodded and said, "Yes, master. When the space stopped growing, we measured it as soon as possible. Now there are about 72,000 acres of spiritual land in the space, and 41,000 acres have been added all of a sudden. But sister, you and I are really powerless and can't take care of so many spiritual lands. Master, please consider adding some more people for us. Otherwise, we really can't handle it. It's really painful to see such a good spiritual land abandoned." Lin Changqing waved his hand and said, "Okay, I know. I will keep an eye on this matter during this time." In fact, he had planned to take advantage of the opportunity of this trial to use the characteristics of the purple crystal scorpion to capture a few attractive female cultivators and farm for him in the inner space. But then he thought about it and found that it was not appropriate to do so, mainly because when the disciples of these big sects came out to participate in the trial, they would definitely leave soul tablets, life lamps and other things in the sect if they did not leave the secret realm. But the soul tablets or life lamps left in the sect were not broken or extinguished. Then someone would definitely track down their whereabouts. If there were any special means that involved Lin Changqing, that would be bad. So he decided not to capture the disciples of these big sects in the secret realm, mainly because he was afraid of the unknown means of those high-level cultivators. It would be better to wait until he was alone and went out to travel and explore before doing these things. At that time, there would be no need to worry too much. Anyway, there are robbery cultivators who are not afraid of death everywhere. If you expose a little wealth, there will definitely be a lot of people who can't help but take action. Chapter 445 Wolf Valley. In that way, getting them into the inner space and letting them farm for him would be considered as sparing their lives and making good use of waste. After pacifying Su Miniang and Zhao Liu, he thought about it and decided to leave all the things with the mark of the Yuga sect in the inner space. He took the 100-year-old red fruits harvested during this period, as well as Lu Yaoqiang and Lu Yaoguang, and left the inner space. In fact, he had considered releasing Su Miniang and Zhao Liu and letting them participate in this trial. But considering that they would reunite with Chen Ziya in a few days, there was no way to explain the identities of the two people at that time. Especially Chen Ziya knew Su Miniang and always thought that she was in the family, making wine for the Lin family. If she suddenly appeared here, it would be hard to explain. So in the end he gave up the idea of letting them come out to participate in the trial. Back in Shenzhen, Lin Changqing reviewed everything that happened today in his mind, and after not finding anything missing or wrong, he began to practice the Thunder Sutra, and he wanted to open up the 19th Thunder Acupoint as soon as possible. It has been quite a while since he got the Thunder Sutra, but due to various reasons, he has only opened up 18 complete acupoints. According to the records in the Thunder Sutra, 36 acupoints need to be opened in the key training stage, and 72 acupoints need to be opened in the foundation building stage. Now he has only opened up a dozen, which is far behind the normal progress of cultivation, and he has not yet exerted the power of the number 1 thunder attack valve. So Lin Changqing wants to put more energy on the cultivation of the Thunder Sutra, at least to cultivate more acupoints. As for those magical powers, there is no way to take care of them all, and some choices may be needed. Otherwise, if you are unwilling to give up anything, then in the end, you may not be able to practice anything. Early the next morning, Lin Changqing recovered the array plate and took back some of the purple crystal scorpions, leaving only 18 second level ones to protect him. Then after releasing Chuai, he set off again. After flying for more than an hour, Chuai sent a warning. A large group of swift wind wolves was found in the valley ahead, estimated to be more than 100. When Lin Changqing received the warning, his first reaction was to take a detour to avoid them, but after thinking about it, he felt something was wrong. There were so many wolves, it should be impossible, all of them were second-level monsters. So he decided to go to the valley to take a look himself, so he took out a magic veil from his storage bag and covered himself. Then he went to the valley 7 or 8 miles away, spent some time, and finally saw the group of swift wind wolves that Chui mentioned. As expected, as he thought, there were less than 120 swift wind wolves in total, and only 23 of them were second-level cultivation. The swift wind wolf king seemed to be in the late second-level great perfection cultivation, and the remaining 3 were in the late second level, 7 were in the middle second level, and 12 were in the early second level. The others were in the middle and late first level cultivation, and there were more than 10 little wolves. The overall strength of these more than 100 swift wind wolves should be considered very strong. Lin Changqing had no way to deal with them all in one round, so he was now seriously considering whether to take the risk. Until he hesitated and observed the wolf pack in the valley again, he finally found that there were a lot of demon luring grass growing in the innermost part of the valley, and it looked like there were at least 20 or 30 plants. This was different. Lin Changqing had been consciously collecting this kind of spiritual grass because he knew that he had a lot of spiritual insects and spiritual beasts. In the future, because of the problem of reproducing offspring, he would definitely need a lot of demon luring grass of various levels. That's why he collected them together, but after so long, there were only 40 or 50 plants in the inner space. This amount was definitely far from enough, so now that he saw these demon luring grasses, he had to get them into the inner space no matter what. And he had heard before that some demon beasts would grow this kind of spiritual grass near where they lived, but he didn't expect to really meet it. This time he really learned a lot. Since these spiritual herbs were planted by the swift wind wolf pack, the only way to get them was to take action. After making up his mind, he released the other 18 purple crystal scorpions, and then began to assign tasks and designate targets. When encountering such a large group of monsters, he would be a burden, so he decided not to take action and leave everything to the purple crystal scorpions. He happened to have the magic weapon King Vol on him, and the wind wolf pack could not see him, so he would stay in a safe place and not drag them down. Just watch them perform. For the safety of the wind wolf king, Lin Changqing specially assigned 6 second-level purple crystal scorpions to deal with it, requiring that it must be killed in one shot and not given time to react. Otherwise, it will organize the wolf pack, which will be even more difficult to deal with, so the most important thing is to kill it. The remaining 3 second-level late-stage wind wolves are assigned 5 purple crystal scorpions, and the second-level mid-stage ones are dealt with by 3 purple crystal scorpions. It is definitely impossible to solve all of them in one round, so we can only wait until they kill the target and then continue to solve the rest. Anyway, for the sake of safety, Lin Changqing would definitely not participate, so he found a hidden place where he would not be easily affected. After confirming that there was no problem, he thought about it and the 36 purple crystal scorpions left the range covered by the magic weapon. They were invisible all the way and slowly approached the position of the wind wolf pack. When they were about the same distance, they turned into 36 purple lights and rushed directly to the wolf pack. When the wind wolf king and other second-level wind wolves noticed it, it was too late. They had already entered the most ideal attack range. The first to suffer were the wolf king and the 3 second-level late-stage ones, which were the focus of Lin Changqing's attention. It can be said that the purple light rays had hit them as soon as they reacted. There were also 4 second-level middle-stage wind wolves, who also suffered. All of a sudden, the whole wolf valley became lively, with screams and wolf howls, and then all the wind wolves desperately fired wind blades at the purple crystal scorpions. But they were small and fast, and few could hit them. Even if they were hit, they were just knocked away. The purple crystal scorpion's body did not receive much damage. After all, so many second-level spirit crystals were not eaten in vain. Their defense was very strong. Lin Changqing saw with his own eyes that 2 purple crystal scorpions were knocked away 5 or 6 feet away, and then flew up again. It seemed that nothing happened to them, so he was completely relieved. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 446, The Shocking Cicada. The whole battle lasted less than a quarter of an hour. Except for 20 or 30 first-level swift wolves that escaped, the rest stayed in the valley. After the battle, Lin Changqing summoned the 2 purple crystal scorpions that were knocked away and checked their bodies. He found that there were only 2 shallow scars. The purple crystals on their bodies were not broken, so he was completely relieved. Next was the time to clean up the battlefield. However, in order to prevent some swift wolves from being dead and suddenly attacking Lin Changqing, he arranged all the purple crystal scorpions to make up for it. After confirming that all the second-level swift wolves were dead, he went down to clean up the battlefield. Because many monsters died here, the smell of blood was very strong now. He was afraid that it would attract a large group of monsters, so he didn't dare to delay too much time. He just put all the corpses of the monsters into the storage bag, and then ran to the innermost part of the Wolf Valley and began to carefully transplant the monster-luring grass. After counting, there were a total of 45 plants, big and small, of which 12 were already second-level spiritual herbs. Lin Changqing was overjoyed, and immediately transplanted all the second-level monster-luring grass into a large jade box. Then he began to transplant the first-level ones, trying not to damage their root systems. This took him more than an hour. After everything was done, he searched carefully in the Wolf Valley again, and after confirming that there was nothing missing, he quickly flew away. Lin Changqing had these second-level monster-luring grasses, and actually had a lot of ideas. The first thing he thought of was to feed the second-level monster-luring grasses to Lu Yaoqiang and Lu Yaoguang. See if he could increase the number of tricolor deer in the inner space. After all, this kind of spiritual beast that eats grass, is hardworking and obedient, and is very elegant and beautiful. He really likes it. He wants as many of these spiritual beasts as he can, and as the inner space continues to expand, he will only need more and more of them. He continued to fly for nearly 2 hours, and received another early warning from Chui, saying that there were 2 monks fighting in front. Since it was on the way, he must go over to take a look. Lin Changqing pressed the flying sword and put on the magic veil directly after landing. Hiding his body, he carefully moved all the way to within 300 feet of the 2 people fighting. One of the 2 was a female cultivator from Maui sect. Her clothes were particularly bold and eye-catching, and she was also very beautiful. Lin Changqing couldn't help but secretly take a few more glances. The other cultivator was very interesting. He was actually a Buddhist cultivator from Honglian Temple. He was tall and strong, but he was a little ugly. Lin Changqing searched the surroundings according to his experience, but did not find any traces of spiritual objects around. I knew that the 2 of them were definitely not fighting for some spiritual object. Sure enough, at this time, the Buddhist cultivator from the Red Lotus Temple said, "Junior sister from the Maui sect, I see that you and I have a destiny, so you'd better surrender. As long as you promise to cooperate with me in practicing the Great Dao of Joy, I will never hurt you, and I guarantee that you will benefit a lot. What do you think? You should be able to see that I have always been merciful, otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to hold on for so long." Upon hearing this, the female cultivator from the Maui sect cursed, "Don't even think about it. You thief bald donkey, I'm not what you think, I won't let you succeed. Even if I'm not your opponent, I also have a way to die with you. If you are not afraid of death, just keep coming." After hearing this, the Buddhist cultivator from the Red Lotus Temple immediately became alert. He didn't want to risk his life here. But she couldn't help but continue to persuade, "You female cultivators of Maui sect wear such bold and revealing clothes, isn't it just to attract men for dual cultivation? I have heard of the Maui Shengxiang Sutra for a long time, and it just so happens that I have the Joy Dao Sutra, so we can learn from each other. Isn't this a happy thing for everyone?" The female cultivator of Maui sect cursed directly, "You shifty and lewd bald donkey, who wants to learn from you? What is Joy Dao Sutra? Isn't it the Joy Dao? You want to trick me into being a cauldron, you really want to be too beautiful. And if it falls into your hands, the result is probably worse than death. I won't be fooled by you." And our Maui sect's Maui Shengxiang Sutra is the authentic Taoist dual cultivation avenue, which is not comparable to your Joy Dao, such evil and crooked skills. "You bald donkey, if you don't get out of here, I will call for help, don't regret it then." The Buddhist cultivators of Honglian Temple have made up their minds to consume her magic power in order to capture her alive. Hearing that she actually said she wanted to call for help, he couldn't help but sarcastically said, "Call. Call. Call as much as you can. I'm afraid that even if you scream your throat out, no one will come to save you." The female cultivator from Maui sect rolled her eyes, and then shouted directly, "Brother from Yuling sect, I know you must be watching nearby. Considering that our 2 sects are on good terms, we invite you to participate in the flower show every 3 years. Please come out and help me drive away this thief bald donkey." Lin Changqing's first reaction was that this female cultivator from Maui sect was bluffing, trying to scare away the bald donkey who was targeting her. Moreover, he was not from Yuling sect, so he didn't react at all and planned to continue watching. The Buddhist cultivator of the Red Lotus Temple laughed and said, "I think you are really confused. Where are the disciples of the Yuling sect you mentioned? Even if there are, why would they come to save you?" The female cultivator of the Maoyu sect ignored him and continued, "Brother of the Yuling sect, I know you must be here. Your spirit pet has been hovering in the sky and has never left. I saw it all. As long as you help me kill this annoying thief bald donkey, I will give you a generous gift and guarantee that you will be satisfied." Hearing her say this, the Buddhist cultivator of the Red Lotus Temple also knew that there must be someone nearby, so he was very anxious and the spiritual weapon in his hand became more fierce. At this time, Lin Changqing finally confirmed that the female cultivator of the Maoyu sect was asking for help from him, but unfortunately he had no intention of taking action. And now that his whereabouts had been broken by someone, he didn't plan to waste time and stay here any longer. So he began to move southeast, ready to leave this place of right and wrong. He had no relatives or friends, and he had no idea of being a hero to save the beauty. However, seeing that no one had shown up yet, the female cultivator from Maoyu sect became very anxious and quickly continued to speak. "Brother from Yuling sect, I know where there is a group of God-shaking cicadas. Please help me kill this thief bald donkey. After that, I will definitely take you to the place where the God-shaking cicadas are found." Chapter 447, Death. Upon hearing that, Lin Changqing hurriedly stopped and asked, "Are you sure that what you saw were the God-shaking cicadas?" When the female cultivator from Maoyu sect heard Lin Changqing's voice, she knew that she was saved, and she quickly said affirmatively, "I'm sure, and I didn't see it, but I heard it with my own ears. I was about to pass by that place yesterday, but I didn't expect to hear a sudden sound of cicadas. I suddenly lost my mind and almost fell off the flying sword. Fortunately, the distance was still far, so I was still able to react, but I can be absolutely sure that those were the God-shocking cicadas. Therefore, I dared not approach that place again, and could only take a detour and leave from a distance. But I have memorized that place firmly in my mind. If senior brother needs it, he can find that place again." After hearing what the female cultivator from Maoyu sect said, Lin Changqing had no reaction, and the Buddhist cultivators from Honglian Temple had very wisely stopped and retreated several feet. Then he quickly said, "Since a fellow Taoist from the Yuling sect has come forward, then I will give this fellow Taoist a face and not disturb you too. Moreover, I didn't want to hurt this fellow Taoist from the Maoyu sect just now, so leave now." The female cultivator from the Maoyu sect sneered and said, "You wish. It's too late to leave now." Then she ignored him and continued to say to Lin Changqing, "Senior brother from the Yuling sect, this thief bald donkey can't be allowed to leave alive. Otherwise, he might interfere and ruin your good deeds. And the condition I just mentioned is that after you help me kill him, I will take you to find those God-shaking cicadas." Hearing what she said, the two people present reacted differently. The Buddhist cultivator from the Red Lotus Temple immediately turned around very decisively and used the shrinking technique to leave. However, Lin Changqing's side was different. Since the female cultivator from the Maoyu sect had asked for this, there was nothing to say, but he did not let the purple crystal scorpion take action. Instead, he first put away the magic gauze, and then touched the storage bag and pretended to take out the thunder horn from it. At this time, the Buddhist cultivators of Honglian Temple had only run 50 or 60 feet, but this distance was just right, and Lin Changqing did not hesitate at all. Boom, 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 he directly locked and fired 3 Jiangjing divine thunders, but the thief bald donkey did not sit still and wait for death. Instead, he sacrificed a copper bowl on his head while escaping. Obviously, this was a top-grade defensive spiritual weapon. However, after being hit by a Jiang divine thunder, the copper bowl immediately broke into pieces, and then the second divine thunder directly broke the 3 layers of defensive spiritual talismans on his body. The third divine thunder had already hit him directly, but it was still blocked by the knot of his cassock. But he was not unscathed, but spurted blood from his mouth and was blasted 7 or 8 feet away, and the cassock on his body was already tattered after blocking a divine thunder. Seeing that he was not dead, Lin Changqing struggled to take out a second-level Earth Escape talisman and wanted to continue to escape. He couldn't help but exclaim, "Huh." Fortunately, he was well prepared and didn't relax too much. He threw the prepared Kishu Yinlui at the thief again. Boom! After a dull thunder, the Buddhist cultivator of Honglian Temple fell to the ground silently without a sound, and the talisman in his hand was scattered to the side. All this happened very quickly, and it was over in just 4 or 5 breaths. The female cultivator of Miao sect thought she needed to cooperate, but she didn't expect that before she could fully react, the thief was dead. And he immediately realized that he must have met the core disciple of Yuling sect, otherwise his means would not be so fierce. He immediately said respectfully, Song Yuan from Miao sect, I am honored to meet senior brother Yuling sect. Thank you for saving my life. What is your name? Lin Changqing looked at the female cultivator named Song Yuan. After he killed the thief bald donkey, her attitude immediately became much more respectful. He knew that his thundering method had worked. He subdued the female cultivator of Miao sect, made her understand how powerful he was, and dared not act presumptuously in front of him. After thinking it through, he nodded and said lightly, my last name is Gao, you don't need to know my name. You are a smart person, you know how to use all available resources, turn the tables, and survive, which makes me admire you very much. But now it's over, I also killed the bald donkey in Honglian Temple as you requested. Now it's your turn to take me to find those shocking cicadas. I just hope you are not lying to me, otherwise you will definitely regret it. Song Yuan hurriedly said, I dare not. I dare not. That place does exist, I dare not deceive senior brother Gao. It's just that place, I just came in yesterday, not long ago, it takes about a day to go from here. If senior brother has no problem, then let's set off now. After that, he very consciously stepped forward and collected all the spoils on the thief bald donkey. Then he handed it to Lin Changqing respectfully, and then threw a few fireballs to deal with the body of the thief bald donkey on the ground. After hearing that it would take a day, Lin Changqing couldn't help but hesitate a little. A delay of 1 day would undoubtedly extend the date of his reunion with Chen Ziya. He hesitated for a moment, but still said, let's go. Get there as soon as possible. Don't pay attention to the monsters you encounter on the way, and try to avoid them. Don't waste too much time on the monsters, I have other important things to deal with. Song Yuan agreed respectfully, and then flew in front of him. Lin Changqing naturally followed behind her. The two people were more than 10 feet apart. Lin Changqing observed that the direction they were heading was south, which was not too far from the direction he was going. Correcting the direction at that time would only waste half a day, but he still needed to talk to Chen Ziya about this matter. He separated a few of his consciousness and stared at Song Yuan in front of him, then took out a 3rd level Phoenix Tail Conch, injected mana into it and communicated with Chen Ziya. Tell her that he had encountered some special circumstances here, and the time of reunion might be delayed for half a day or a day. Fortunately, Chen Ziya told him that there was no problem with her and she was not in any danger now, so he didn't need to worry about her. If there was anything, he could deal with it first. It would be fine if he postponed the reunion for a day or two. Lin Changqing was relieved, but he didn't plan to spend too much time here. Chapter 448, Strange Insect List number 98. So he said directly to Song Yuan, who was leading the way, don't be so slow, speed up, I don't have time to waste here. Song Yuan hurriedly turned back and agreed, and then sped up. Lin Changqing, on the other hand, used the early warning of the first day of the lunar calendar. As long as they found that there were monsters in front of them, if there were few in number, they would rush over directly and kill the monsters with 1 round of attack. Then they quickly collected the corpses of the monsters and left. If they encountered a large number of monsters, they would spend a little time to take a detour. Song Yuan didn't dare to stop on the way. He took the pills to restore mana while rushing on the road. After rushing for several hours, he finally didn't waste too much time. Before it was almost dark, he arrived at a place where Song Yuan found the Jingshan cicada. It was a large purple bamboo forest. Lin Changqing knew these spiritual bamboos. This was a 1st level purple bamboo, but it would not grow too high. The top was only about 15 feet. But it is not absolute. If the place where it grows has sufficient spiritual energy and it grows for enough years, the 1st level purple bamboo may turn into purple jade bamboo, which is a 2nd level spiritual material. It is estimated that Song Yuan also discovered this purple bamboo forest yesterday and wanted to go in to find the 2nd level purple jade bamboo, so she encountered those shocking cicadas. However, when she was 400 or 500 feet away from the purple bamboo forest, Song Yuan did not dare to get close. Lin Changqing did not make things difficult for her and asked her to wait there. When she approached the purple bamboo forest, when she was about 200 feet away, a cicada sound rang out in the purple bamboo forest, and Lin Changqing was just in a trance for a moment, and then he didn't feel anything. But it also made him confirm that Song Yuan did not lie to him. There are indeed shocking cicadas here, and the number seems to be quite large, estimated to be at least 1 or 200. Lin Changqing suppressed his excitement and returned to Song Yuan. He took a look at her and then said seriously, "Those in the purple bamboo forest are indeed the god-shocking cicadas. In this way, even if our transaction is successfully completed, I want you to swear a great oath of the Dao heart. You cannot reveal my information to anyone in any form or by any method. Including my knowledge of thunder magic, these god-shocking cicadas, and everything you have seen of me, you cannot mention it to others. And even if we meet again in the future, we must pretend not to know each other. Can you do what I said?" Song Yuan felt a little creepy when he looked at her. Knowing that this great oath of the Dao heart was related to her life and death, she did not dare to hesitate at all. Directly and straightforwardly, according to Lin Changqing's request, she swore a great oath of the Dao heart. Seeing that she was so righteous, Lin Changqing did not want to do anything to cross the river and destroy the bridge. He still had his own moral bottom line in his heart. He had never forgotten how his innate moral true I came from, so he was still very particular about doing things. So he took out a storage bag and shook it, pouring out the corpses of 4 second-level initial monsters. Then he said, "These monster corpses on the ground are what we just encountered. And the monster pills in their bodies have not been taken out. It is considered as your reward. After you take it, leave here immediately before it gets completely dark." Song Yuan hesitated. She actually wanted to continue to follow Lin Changqing. The core disciples are strong and their safety is also very guaranteed. If the two can cooperate in hunting, then ask Lin Changqing to give her some monster pills. It's better than her wandering around alone. Not only is it too dangerous, but she may not get much. However, seeing Lin Changqing's cold and ruthless look, she knew that he would not agree to accompany her, so she could only nod, collect the monster corpses on the ground, and turn around and leave. Lin Changqing looked at her, flew out of his sight, and then flew around the purple bamboo forest. He wanted to find a suitable place nearby. Prepare to set up camp here tonight. It's still the old rules. After finding a suitable place, set up the maze array. Then he released all the first and second level purple crystal scorpions. They automatically formed a 3-layer 3-dimensional defense circle and then disappeared. He summoned Chuai back, and he entered the magic circle. Then he found the list of strange insects that came with the insect cultivation inheritance in his storage bag. He read it carefully and finally found a detailed introduction to the god-shocking cicada at the back. It ranks 98th on the list of strange insects. It is a social spiritual insect that feeds on the juice of spiritual trees, spiritual bamboos, or spiritual liquids rich in spiritual energy. Its innate magic is the soul-shocking spell. When they are at the first level, their abilities are not that strong, so they are called soul-shocking cicada. After successfully molting 3 times, they are promoted to the second level, and only then can they be officially called shocking cicada. If they can molt 3 more times, they are the 3rd level spiritual insects, and at this time they can be called falling god cicada. You don't need too many, just a dozen. If they work well together, they can send out continuous 3rd level soul-shocking spells. After their special talent bonus, even giant and cultivators dare not provoke them casually. If you are surrounded by them, there is a very high possibility that you will die directly, and your soul will be destroyed. However, they also have weaknesses. The first is that their bodies are not strong and are relatively fragile. If they are hurt, they will die easily. The second is that they are very harmful to spiritual trees and bamboos. After all, they are pests to all spiritual plants. The god-shocking cicada specializes in lying on spiritual plants and sucking their juice to survive, which is more costly to spiritual plants. The third disadvantage is that it is not so easy to shed the shell in advance. Every time you shed the shell, you are going through the tribulation of life and death. There is a very high possibility of failure and you cannot successfully break out of the shell. Especially when you want to advance to a higher level, the difficulty is even greater. There is only about a 30% success rate for the first level to the second level. When the second level enters the third level, it is exaggerated. It is actually 3 out of 100. That is to say, out of 100 advanced god-shocking cicadas, only about 3 can successfully advance. There is no mention of the third stage entering the fourth stage, but even if it is not mentioned above, Lin Changqing can guess that the success rate must be shockingly low. However, this is still far away from him now, and he does not want to waste his energy to explore it at this time. He is just thinking about how to feed these god-shaking cicadas if he really catches them. Although there are indeed many spiritual plants in the inner space, they are all very important to him, and it is impossible for the god-shaking cicadas to eat them. Chapter 449 Disaster. As for the spiritual liquid, he didn't seem to have any on hand. If he kept buying it outside, it would be a huge expense. He could barely feed them, but it would be best if he could achieve self-sufficiency. And subconsciously, he still hoped to leave some of the god-shocking cicadas for his family, because he already had the purple crystal scorpion. The god-shocking cicadas were a bit redundant and repetitive for him, but if he left them to his family, it would be different. For their safety, it would be a huge guarantee. As for catching the god-shocking cicadas, he was not worried, because he had the Imperial Soul Shield, and now these god-shocking cicadas posed no threat to him. As long as he could find them, he would definitely catch them. After all, he still had the purple crystal scorpion to help him, so catching the god-shocking cicadas was not a piece of cake. I just don't know if the contract can be successfully signed. If not, then I can only feed them the second-level demon luring grass to see if they will mate and lay eggs. After thinking clearly about the god-shocking cicadas, Lin Changqing began to collect the corpses of the monsters harvested today. He took them out one by one and dealt with them. Of course, the most important thing was to take out the demon pills in their bodies and sort them out. The 23 swift wolves he hunted in the morning, plus the demon beasts he encountered on the way here today, provided him with a total of 28 demon pills. Adding the 12 he got yesterday, he now has 40 demon pills in his hands, which is a good start. After all, this number is enough to exchange for the mark certificate to leave the secret realm and the demon pill that instills the third level of cultivation. If it were someone else, the purpose of participating in the secret realm this time might have been perfectly achieved. Just put these demon pills into the sacrificial magic circle, then find a safe place to hide them and wait for the trial to end. Unfortunately, this is not what Lin Changqing is pursuing. He still has Chen Ziyi to take care of, and he is still thinking about trying hard to see if he can get the final big opportunity. After dealing with all the demon beast corpses, he took out the 2 storage bags he had harvested from the thief bald donkey in Honglian Temple today. He was still a little curious about the thief bald donkey. At least this person's defense was strong enough, and Lin Changqing suspected that he should have practiced a body refining method. Otherwise, it would be impossible for the third Zhengjin God Thunder to hit his body, but he was unscathed in the end. Although the cassock on his body should also be a defensive spiritual weapon, it was obviously destroyed. The remaining power of the God Thunder should still be able to break his body into pieces. So the thief bald donkey is very likely to have succeeded in body refining. Lin Changqing wanted to find out if there were any experiences about body refining in these 2 storage bags. It didn't take long for him to complete the sacrifice and refinement of the 2 storage bags. Lin Changqing picked up one at random to check. He found that there were 7 or 8 corpses of second-level monsters in it. Lin Changqing took a look and found that all the monster pills had been taken out. The things in the other storage bag were also very neat. With hundreds of medium-grade spirit stones and more than a dozen bottles of various elixirs, as if these sect disciples had made an appointment. There weren't too many spiritual items, just 2 ring knives and a soul-summoning bell, but to be honest, Lin Changqing really didn't like these spiritual tools. There were quite a few jade boxes, but most of them were empty, and only 2 of them had things in them. In one jade box, there were 8 demon pills, 2 of which were mid-stage and 6 were early stage. In another jade box, there were 3 second-level 7-star grasses, with complete roots and fresh soil. There was no problem growing them, and they could be transplanted into the cave when the time came. 7-star grass is a good thing. It is the main ingredient of the second-level 7-star barrier-breaking pill. It is definitely not a problem to sell each plant for 8 or 9,000 spirit stones. When I refine it myself in the future, I can definitely sell it for a good price. It is worth cultivating it with great care. Then I found a red identity jade card, which seemed to be full of cracks. After thinking about it for a while, I put it together with the identity jade card of the Yuga sect yesterday, and gave it to Chen Ziyi when the time came, so that she could exchange it for sect contribution points. 3 jade slips were found, which made Lin Changqing somewhat expectant. He then put one on his forehead and could not look at it directly. Unexpectedly, this was a jade slip introducing the secret realm of trial. With this one in his hand, he already had 3 in total. He was very speechless, but he still put it away. He changed to another one and continued to read it. This one was interesting. The content inside was actually the Happy Buddha Sutra. He had heard of this practice more or less. It seemed to be an evil practice of collecting yin and replenishing yang. In order to verify the authenticity, Lin Changqing took a rough look and found that it was indeed a one-sided practice of collecting and replenishing. The woman was reduced to a cauldron. Although the woman may get the highest enjoyment during the practice, it will damage the root and foundation. It won't be long before the cauldron will die. Lin Changqing shook his head when he saw it. This was completely an evil practice. He crushed the jade slip without hesitation. It's better not to keep this thing, so as not to harm future generations. Then he continued to pick up the last jade slip and checked it. This was what Lin Changqing was looking for. Lin Changqing was quite interested in the practice notes of the thief bald donkey, so he read it carefully. Finally, he knew that the thief bald donkey was practicing the Red Lotus Diamond Sutra, which is a practice method that cultivates both inside and outside. Refining the skin, flesh, tendons and bones outside, and refining the diamond mana inside, and the practice mana can complement the external practice and play a role in assisting the body. Based on Lin Changqing's experience of practicing two heaven-level practices, this Red Lotus Diamond Sutra is a very brilliant practice. If you have to evaluate the level, the Red Lotus Diamond Sutra should be considered a ground-level practice, and it is still a relatively powerful ground-level practice. This practice method can be practiced by any one or more of the gold, fire, scholar, and spiritual roots of the cultivator. In the end, if you really practice successfully, you will take the path of becoming a Buddha in the flesh, but no specific practice method has been found, only a few words, which is a pity. There were only some thieves who talked about the problems they encountered in their cultivation from the beginning to now, as well as the solutions. Among them, Lin Changqing also learned some external cultivation methods. It was a little bit of reference for him, but not too much, because his main method of body cultivation was internal cultivation, so the reference was not great. Chapter 450, 480 Shocking Cicadas. The remaining things were some daily necessities and clothes, but there were many small clothes of female cultivators, at least 50 or 60 pieces. It goes without saying that everyone knew what happened to their original owners. This proved that this was a real pervert. It was really not wrong for Lin Changqing to kill him. It was also a way to seek justice for the female cultivators who were persecuted by him. Thinking of this, it seemed as if there was really an inexplicable wind sweeping over, making him feel very comfortable in his heart and spirit. He couldn't help but get rid of all those colorful and messy clothes on the spot, so as not to be an eyesore. If Chen Ziyi saw it and misunderstood it, it would be bad. Then he put all the things away in different categories. He took out the Wunian jade mat and put it under his buttocks, and then Lin Changqing began to practice the Thunder Sutra. The next day, Lin Changqing got up early and prepared to catch the shocking cicada. He didn't want to waste too much time here. Moreover, when he was resting last night, he had combined the actual situation and thought of a way to catch them. He was going to try it as soon as possible. After packing up the things in the camp and collecting the array disc, Lin Changqing released Chui and asked it to keep an eye on the surroundings, so that he would not know if someone came. Then he covered himself with a magic veil, and also covered the 36-second level purple crystal scorpions. Then he walked into the purple bamboo forest. The scope of this purple bamboo forest was not too large, which was about 10 miles in radius. When there was no enemy, the god-shaking cicada would not scream randomly, so when Lin Changqing entered the purple bamboo forest, everything was quiet. It was like a dead land. After all, in this place, except for the god-shaking cicada, no other spirit beasts could survive, so there was such a deathly silence. But at this time, he didn't dare to use his spiritual sense to search for them. The god-shaking cicada was also a spirit beast of soul attribute. Using his spiritual sense to find them would definitely alarm them. If they flew away at that time, it would be troublesome, so everything could only rely on Lin Changqing's own eyes to find these god-shaking cicadas. Fortunately, he had sharp eyes and ears, so it was not a problem for him to find these little things. He had just walked into the purple bamboo forest for a few steps when he found two god-shaking cicadas in a purple bamboo forest. He quickly took out the small 5-element mystery ray and set it up, covering the purple bamboo forest where the god-shaking cicadas were found. In this way, they could not fly out in a short time, and even if they used the soul-shaking technique, no sound could be heard from outside. Then he thought about it, and 2 purple crystal scorpions moved up and hugged the 2 fist-sized god-shaking cicadas. He did not dare to let the purple crystal scorpions attack the god-shaking cicadas. He was afraid that they would be killed in an instant, but the god-shaking cicadas were suddenly attacked and immediately used their innate spells. However, it had no effect on Lin Changqing and the purple crystal scorpion. Needless to say, Lin Changqing was also a soul-attributed spirit beast and was not afraid of the soul-shaking technique. With a thought, the 2 purple crystal scorpions flew down with the god-shaking cicadas in their arms. Lin Changqing thought about it and put them all into the second largest space of the spirit beast bracelet. The physical attack ability of the god-shaking cicada is very ordinary, so he is not afraid that the spirit beast bracelet will be damaged by them without a contract. In this way, 2 god-shaking cicadas were successfully obtained, and Lin Changqing was greatly encouraged. Everything went very smoothly, proving that the method he thought of last night was completely feasible. At this time, Lin Changqing was very excited and immediately continued to look for the god-shaking cicada. Following this method, he searched for more than 2 hours in a row and finally found all the god-shaking cicadas in the Tenli purple bamboo forest. He dare not say that there are no fish that have slipped through the net, but he believes that more than 95% of the god-shaking cicadas here should be in his spirit beast bracelet. This harvest is unexpectedly large. Now there are 480 god-shaking cicadas in his spirit beast bracelet, of which there are about 160 second-level god-shaking cicadas. The remaining 320 god-shaking cicadas are all first level. He found so many, and he has a better understanding of them in his heart. The larger the individual god-shaking cicada, the more times it has shed its shell, and of course the effect of the soul-shaking technique is also stronger. He was not going to look for the remaining cicadas, because he didn't want to waste any more time here. So he decided to stop while he was ahead, and set off to meet up with Chen Ziya. After adjusting the direction, he set off directly on his sword. He was flying at high speed at this time, hoping to make up for the time wasted yesterday. He used some of his consciousness to fly on the sword to hurry on, and the other few were to communicate with Chen Ziya through the phoenix tail homophonic conch. However, after the voice transmission, Chen Ziya did not reply, and he immediately knew that she must have encountered trouble. He couldn't help but worry, but there was nothing he could do now. He could only fly at high speed on the sword, and he didn't want to hunt the monsters when he saw them. Now he just didn't want to waste time, and then he sent a voice transmission to Chen Ziya through the homophonic conch every quarter of an hour or so. Fortunately, after more than an hour, he finally received a voice transmission from Chen Ziya to report that he was safe, and he was relieved. He took out the Qianji jade pendant and injected mana into it. After sensing it, the distance between the 2 people was still a little more than 5,000 miles. At this rate, it would take about 2.5 days to reunite with Chen Ziya. Lin Changqing only hoped that no more demon sons would appear during this period, so that he could reunite with Chen Ziya smoothly first, and everything else would be easy. As for Chen Ziya, she had just experienced a thrilling crisis. If it weren't for those purple crystal scorpions protecting her, she would have died just now, but she didn't tell Lin Changqing, because she knew that telling him would only make him anxious and worried. So she decided to wait until they met before telling Lin Changqing everything. There was this crisis because she still cared too much about the friendship of her fellow disciples. She saw a fellow disciple from Qinghai sect, and she was a fellow disciple who had been with her from Qinghai Jiao. Being attacked by the cultivators of the corpse-raising sect, the combination of human and corpse was very powerful, and the cultivators of Qinghai sect were in danger. She couldn't bear it, so she went over to prepare to join forces with that fellow disciple. Kill the cultivator of the corpse-raising sect, but when she just approached, she was immediately attacked by 4 cultivators. The 2 monks hiding in the surrounding breathing formation and the 2 people who were fighting turned around and attacked her. Fortunately, she listened to Lin Changqing's words and her defense was very good. She had defensive talismans on her body in the secret realm. In addition, she had the top-grade defensive spiritual weapon in her hand and the 2 top-grade spiritual weapons on her waist, so she was able to save her life under this sudden attack. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.